One man is being victimized by our own government. One man whom they fear, yet whom millions love. One man who is willing to take the poison arrows of lawfare. One man whose voice has been taken away by a corrupt judge operating in a corrupt system. One man who has been ridiculed and insulted. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who stands between us and them. One man that wants to see America protected again. One man who wants to see America prosper again. One man who understands that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. One man who understands and protects the blessing of life. One man who wants to restore American exceptionalism. One man who once again wants to make America that shining city on a hill for all to see. A place where all the people of the world glowingly set their eyes upon. America. One man who unashamedly wants to make America great again. That one man is Donald Trump.
This is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
About to get your espresso this morning. Come on, how many are ready to get a dose of the Holy Ghost this morning? Come on now. If that's you, put your hands together and give your great God great glory. May we pray for our president. May we pray for this gathering. May we pray for our great nation. Will you bow your heads with me in prayer? Heavenly Father, in the name of Jesus, thank you that we are proud today to be Americans. For at least we know we're free. Thank you for the men and the women who have died to give that right to us. This morning we stand up in prayer to fight for the soul of our nation. We pray now in the name of Jesus for what's happening in Minnesota. We pray for what's happening all throughout the land, because you said if my people that are called by my name, you said if we humble ourselves and pray. You said if we seek your face and turn from our wicked ways. You said that you would hear from heaven, forgive our sin, and you would heal the land. We need healing in the land. We pray for our president. We pray for Secretary Bessent. We ask that you would do great and mighty things that we know not today. We believe that as Trump accounts are opening, that the next generation would be blessed exceedingly and abundantly above all that they could ever ask or think, according to your power that works within them. And we will be so careful to give your name the glory. We will be careful to give your name the honor. And we will be so careful to give your name the praise. In Jesus' name we pray, amen and amen. Come on, put your hands together and give your great God great glory. God bless you.
All right, so that's what I wanted to start with. That is a message we're going to be hearing today. We're going to be talking about, and it looks like it's going to be an ongoing theme this morning, is prosperity. It's talking about the Trump accounts. But before we get to the Trump account, just to let you know what's on tap here. I've got some excerpts from the beginning of the program over at, I think it's in the White House or at the auditorium, where they're going to be talking about these Trump accounts and prosperity. President Trump is due to come on stage at 11, so we're going to cover that speech, and whatever we don't get hold of done before President Trump's come on, we'll go back and we'll play that as well. Then, in addition to that, we also have the Venezuela hearing, if you guys want to play with those things. I don't like them, but I know some of you guys like them. So we got a whole bunch of things to go on. And since we're already talking about prosperity, wanted to show you what the First Lady did this morning.
Now part of a global trading and data powerhouse, the pillars still stand, a beacon for those with brilliance and determination, and the traders making the modern markets. You stand in the footsteps of giants, where history is rewritten with each new assembly on our podium. They gather not to recycle the past, but to reimagine the future. A bright day lies ahead. A new chapter takes shape with each share passing through our pipes. Welcome to Wall Street. Welcome to New York City, the world's financial capital. Welcome to the New York Stock Exchange.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Jeff Sprecher, Chair and CEO of Intercontinental Exchange, and Lynn Martin, 68th President of the New York Stock Exchange.
Good morning, everybody. It's my honor to welcome you here to the New York Stock Exchange. As the voice of God mentioned, I'm Jeff Sprecher, and we are, my company owns 13 of the world's great exchanges, and I'm honored to be at this one. You're here, for those that are here for the first time, you're here at 11 Wall Street. And Wall Street, the term Wall Street has become synonymous with what we do in this building every day around the world. And partly why we refer to the capital markets as Wall Street is because we're here, but also on this corner, kitty corner to this building, was the nation's first Capitol. And George Washington was sworn in on the street, on the corner, next to this building. And as we were starting our republic, just about 250 years ago, the first Congress met in that building and started to work on the Bill of Rights. And in front of the building, on this side of the corner, there was a tree called the buttonwood tree. And underneath the buttonwood tree, 24 brokers got together and began to raise the money to pay for the Congress and also to build the infrastructure that today powers what you saw on that screen. So the term Wall Street is really the intersection, truly the intersection, of a democracy that was formed with capitalism. And so we're going to celebrate that here today with the bell ringing. And if you think about the people that were on the street and across the street that were building our society 250 years ago, they were entrepreneurs and business people that came to contribute. They were people that wanted to become public servants. They were philanthropists that decided they wanted to donate part of their lives to building this great country. And so today, the First Lady is here, and I will tell you that she's been here on numerous occasions. And if you ask why has she been in this building, she's actually been here as a philanthropist. She's been here as a businesswoman, and she's been here as a public servant. And so as we celebrate the birth of our country, she embodies what people 250 years ago had hoped would survive in this building and on this very corner. One other thing about her visits here, colleague Courtney is over here. She's a professional photographer that's on the staff of the New York Stock Exchange. And so one of the things she's going to do today is take dozens and dozens of photographs. And we have in our archives dozens of photographs of the First Lady. And I've seen most of them. And I can tell you that in every photograph, you see a person who's happy, you see a person who's engaged, you see a person who's intentional, and you see a woman who is incredibly lovely. And I'm sure the makers of the film, Brett and Ellen and Mark and the cinematographers, in every scene see the same thing that we see in every photo that we've ever taken of the First Lady. And I'm going to have an opportunity to see the movie on Thursday, and like many of you are looking forward to seeing it. I'm absolutely confident, given our experience with the First Lady, that the movie is going to be absolutely beautiful. So let me turn the podium over to Lynn Martin, who's the president of the New York Stock Exchange and who actually runs this company and runs this building, to introduce the First Lady.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to 11 Wall Street. At times, the universe places people in extraordinary circumstances. Circumstances you could never imagine growing up in, and circumstances where there is no set playbook, only choices to make. Now, for a select few, they view this as an opportunity. And in even rarer cases, some use this as a moment to leverage the championing of a cause that they hold dear, to use the moment and the platform to make the world a better place. That is what the movie Melania showcases: a woman who embodies strength, grace, and warmth to redefine what it means to be the First Lady of the United States of America. After having the privilege of seeing the film, I was struck by this portrait of a woman who is reinventing the role of First Lady of the United States of America. Someone who is showing the world that you could be a businesswoman and an entrepreneur while still being a mother and a wife. Melania was not only the mastermind behind curating a variety of events that led up to the inauguration of our 47th president. At the same time, she was operating businesses that focus on protecting those most important and most vulnerable in our society, those being children. The latter was what struck me the most. It became clear to me while watching the film just how grounded our First Lady is in love not just of country, but of family. I was unaware at how much that love of family is her guiding source of inspiration to make the world a better place for children around the globe and to give them a voice. And while that may have been clear to some during the Be Best initiative, I was unaware of just how much she continued to invest in this platform following President Trump's first term. Since her and her family's return to the White House, Melania has continued to advance several initiatives focused on the causes she is most passionate about. And it's remarkable in what she has achieved in just 1 year of returning to Washington. As an example, in November of 2025, Melania launched the Fostering the Future to support children in foster care, which secured $25 million in federal funding for housing support. And as the mother of two who are just about to embark upon their own digital journeys, I could not be more grateful to the work that Melania is doing to protect children online, championing the Take It Down Act to address online exploitation, as well as her continued advancement of AI education for children in the White House. Melania, it has been inspiring to see this 20-day peek into your life. You exhibit the unique intersection of clear-headed drive, warmth, grace, and unwavering dedication, not just to this country, but to the youth of the world. As a mother, I am both humbled and grateful to be with you today. And now, it is my great honor to officially introduce the First Lady of the United States of America, Melania Trump, to our stage.
Thank you. Good morning. It's an honor to be on Wall Street in the New York Stock Exchange, just 2 days before the global launch of my new film, Melania. Thank you for having me today, Jeff, Lynn, and of course, the CEOs from America's great corporations. Superior storytelling drives culture, and in turn, moves markets. In the near future, cultural influence will matter as much as economic power. Our ability to tell our stories and emotionally connect with audiences is paramount. People long to be moved. We need stories that inspire dreams, offer hope, tales of redemption, sad stories, love stories, and funny stories. We want to feel human. My new film, Melania, provides a window into an important period for America, the 47th presidential inauguration. For the first time in history, people will witness the 20 days leading up to the inauguration through the eyes of an incoming First Lady. Visual storytelling and beautiful music create memories for a lifetime. What do you remember when you hear Rolling Stones, Michael Jackson? Films bring families and friends together, sitting side by side, sharing a collective moment. In doing so, they will not simply watch my film. They will participate in a great American tradition and become part of our nation's history. Thank you for joining me on this historic morning, and enjoy the film. Thank you.
Madam First Lady, we have a variety of traditions at the New York Stock Exchange. The first tradition that we have is every morning we strike a medallion for our bell ringers. It is my honor to present you with this morning's medallion. On the front of the medallion are our 6 pillars, which stand for a variety of things, but importantly, they stand for access to free markets around the globe and the concept of freedom, which I know you fight for every single day. And on the back is the buttonwood tree. As Jeff mentioned, we were founded under a buttonwood tree on the corner of Wall and Broad. It reminds us of our commitment to fair and transparent markets. It's my honor to present you with this.
Thank you. Beautiful.
And then, I will take this walk. And then we have a bit of a different tradition. We have never done this before. It is my honor to present you with this engraved plate, which commemorates your time with us today and congratulates you on the launch of your film. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Okay. And then for everyone in the room, we have our challenge coin. which you will pick up on your way down as we head down to perform our celebration of everything that is great in this country, and that is the capital markets. So, shall we all head down to do this? All right, let's do this. Thank you all. We will meet you downstairs.
Everybody, we're celebrating capitalism today because country was founded on capitalism. I'm never turning my back on capitalism. Prosperity is not a bad thing. And we're going to get to Scott Bessent here in 1 second. Not sure what time President Trump will come on, but we're going to cover all of this. But real quick, let me tell you about Brightcore. For decades, our dietary guidelines have pushed low fat, low salt, eat less, while the food supply is filled with chemicals, seed oils, and ultra-processed junk. RFK Jr., in case you guys weren't aware of it, he just released a new dietary guidelines, and it's a major shift. Basically, it flips the food pyramid on its head. For the first time, the federal government is openly calling out the real driver of chronic disease, that being ultra-processed food. In case you haven't seen the new food pyramid or devolve pyramid, this is what it looks like now. Completely flipped on its head. These guidelines pull America back to real food while warning against the foods that are destroying us, the foods that nobody wants or should be eating. And I understand when people are on SNAP and you see these people at the grocery store and they're buying all this crap and they're all fat. Should tell you right there. I mean, it really snapped me out of it. I'm like, look at all the crap they're eating, and then look at the people. Even their little kids, all fat. Real damage isn't always visible. The problem is the damage underneath: inflammation, blood sugar instability, hormone disruption, and metabolic dysfunction. And RFK isn't chasing a diet trend. It's behavioral. He eats like someone who understands your gut controls your entire system, which it does. I mean, here is a video of RFK Jr. talking about that.
Mainly meat and then fermented vegetables, anything fermented. So a lot of kimchi and all kinds of fermented vegetables. And it's really, I would say it's dramatically changed my, everything.
Hey, when you look at the guy, you realize, man, this guy's put together. See, the only issue right now is that it's not easy to eat kimchi every day. And now you can get all the benefits of kimchi in a convenient daily capsule with Kimchi One. Kimchi One helps restore what modern food destroys, delivering kimchi's unique probiotic strains to strengthen your gut barrier, flush toxins out, and reduce body fat. In a world built on fake food, give your gut real protection. And if you guys would like to get some Kimchi One, you can just go to mybrightcore.com/Barry. You can get an exclusive offer by clicking the link in the description for 25% off your entire order, or for an even better deal, you can call my friends at Brightcore for up to 50% off your order and free shipping. Give them a call now at 888-418-6738. Prosperity, health, I think they all go in together. They all make sense. It's just one symbiotic system to make you guys enjoy the prosperity. Who likes to make money and then can't enjoy it? So that's one of the worst things. Hey, work for 40 hours. Work for 40 years, retire, and then you can't do anything because you're old and things are breaking down. Yeah, who wants that? Make yourself healthy so that you can enjoy the prosperity that President Trump is bringing. And so I've got Scott Bessent queued up. Let me go ahead and get him ready as he's coming to the stage. Hit the button, Barry. Okay, we're hitting the button. Wait for him to come out right now. And then he's going to talk, and should be right about the time President Trump is going to be coming out. Here is Scott Bessent.
Good. Great to be here this morning, and thank you, Pastor Sewell. My prayer is that I could be half as good as you. Thank you all for being here. This year, we celebrate the 250th anniversary of the greatest nation on earth. This singular moment calls for singular legislation. Enter Trump accounts. Since this historic program was first announced, we have seen a tsunami of support from philanthropists, companies, charitable organizations, and everyday Americans, many of whom are with us this morning. Today, we will hear from businessmen and investors, professional athletes, Maha moms, and even world-famous the President of the United States himself. What is it that can bring this eclectic group together under one roof? What is it that unites Americans of all backgrounds around a common cause? The desire to empower our children, to shape their own financial futures and build a better America. In short, Trump accounts. By giving each newborn citizen a material stake in the American dream through Trump accounts, President Trump is minting future investors on every rung of the economic ladder. He is embedding, there's an investor. He is embedding financial literacy in the next generation, and he's creating an ownership economy to help secure the American experiment for the next century, the next 250 years. Through the power of compound growth, Trump accounts will turn simple investments into life-changing money that our children can use for college, their first home, or their retirement, the basic building blocks of the American dream. Since I started this speech, 21 American children have been born. Approximately 10,000 will be born today alone, and more than 3.6 million will be born this year. And all of them will be eligible to receive a Trump account. From an early age, our citizens will be able to observe the benefits of free markets in real time, and it's all thanks to President Trump. Trump accounts are a generational down payment on the American dream. They are the culmination of more than 2 centuries of capitalism and financial markets changing the world, and they are the key to unlocking the next 250 years of our national prosperity. Our children's financial future will be built by the men and women in this auditorium and the thousands more listening to today's live stream. Today, we will hear from a wide variety of speakers and panelists who will get to explain how you can get directly involved. By donating to Trump accounts, we can realize the President's vision of making every American an asset owner. I invite everyone to join us in this mission, and I want to thank you all for being here today. Thank you.
All right, so I hope they go into more depth in terms of what exactly is the trust account, so people understand, because it involves a lot of math, a lot of compounding, so you guys understand basically how much money a kid can have by the time they're up to a certain age group. I do have this I can show you guys while waiting for the next speaker. Listen to this. Where is this? All right, listen to this.
You kind of touch on this. By age 18, right, you could have $303,000. By age 28, it's more than $1 million. If you do the maximum contributions, if you give no contributions, right, you're still shy of $6,000, which ain't nothing, and then $18,000 by age 28. You know, President Bush 43 pushed the
I mean, when you look at that number, and again, talking about money today, we're talking about something that most people haven't really thought about because this wasn't available. You counted on and depended upon Social Security. And then once you get to, basically 65, you're hoping that you get the number that's going to sustain you for the rest of your life. Some people get like $1,200 a month. By the time someone's 28, never mind 65, by the time someone's 28, they could have $1.1 million in the bank. Just imagine that. I know I would not have wanted $1.1 million because I probably would have blown through it like crazy. But $1.1 million at 28 years old. The Democrats, the reason why nobody in the media is talking about this, including Fox to a certain extent, is because it is so much money, so much prosperity. Everybody's focusing, and I don't want to say everybody, I hate using superlatives, but so many people are talking about the guys who got shot in Minnesota, and Trump's not doing this. And I'm like, are you guys not seeing what's happening? And I'm not going to whine today because I'm happy. I know that my grandchildren are going to be set. Game, set, match. All three of our grandchildren are going to be millionaires by the time they're 28. That's me having happy feet. That's me just being ecstatic that they could be millionaires by the time they're 28 years old. I know Ashley's like, oh no, not them. Yes, them. Yes, they will be millionaires by the time they're 28. Well, maybe not totally because they're a little bit older, not starting from zero, but you can keep adding money to it. Let's continue to listen to this.
28. You know, President Bush 43 pushed this idea about 20.
And he couldn't get it done. He couldn't or he wouldn't. All right, let's continue with, before he comes on, I think the next person to come up is Michael Dell. Let's see what he's got. And play.
Our $6.25 billion gift to 25 million American children.
When children have a future that they can see is worth saving for, then that will help build hope and opportunity and prosperity for generations to come.
We are going to make sure that all American families have a stake in the success of the United States of America. We're just getting started. Today is day one. This is an extraordinary contribution, but it's the beginning of a drumbeat you're going to hear for the next 6 months leading up to the 250th anniversary of the country. I don't think there's anybody in the country who won't have heard about this.
And this will be one of the many marquee achievements of the Trump administration.
You know, I like to call myself a policy guy. Either it's good policy or it's bad policy. This is fantastic policy, and I'll tell you why. I grew up, most of my career was in educational software, trying to advance math and reading scores. And we did a phenomenal job in this country doing that in our industry. Where we failed was financial literacy. And today there's 110 million Americans who basically have no plan for their future. They never did have a plan. And they don't know what they're going to do at retirement. This idea, the Trump account, solves that problem, or a good part of it, because you're basically making an investment not just in an individual that's born, in their family. The burden of a family to educate or help a child launch can be really difficult, particularly if you have a large one. Think about this. And this money you can't touch for 18 years. Let the power of the world's largest economy go to work for a child for 18 years and stand back in awe and see what happens if you can't touch it and you let it do its thing. What I love about this is it's better than Social Security. It really is. This is a way for the country to heal itself and make sure every one of its citizens has a foundation to stand on. As I like to say, and, and I would have said to every grade schooler, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Even Mary Poppins loves this policy. She spoke to me this morning about it, said this is absolutely fantastic. So I applaud the administration, and I think what I like about it the most is I can't find anybody, red or blue, that doesn't like this idea. And I think what'll happen with it is it's going to spring forward some even better ideas. Let me give an example as an employer. I invest in many, many companies. Instead of just giving a bonus to my employee, which I do every year and many companies do, why not go beyond that and invest in their family by giving that child a piece of that bonus or even more? I think that's a beautiful way to support not just an individual, but their entire endeavor to grow and be successful. You can tell I've got a lot of emotion about this. I love this idea so much. I really do. And I intend to do whatever I can to support it and get the message out there, because I can't find anything wrong with it. And I love it when people can help themselves and not just rely on government. Thank you.
Today, the Treasury Department is hosting a star-studded event to help launch the new Trump Accounts initiative. It's all part of the president's major push to invest in the future of America. White House correspondent Aisha Hasni is joined by Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent right now to tell us all about it. Good morning, guys.
Hey, good morning to you. Look, the president feels like he's got the right economic policies. Now it's just about fine-tuning the message. And with me now is one of his lead messengers, the Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent. Treasury Secretary, good to see you. Good morning to you.
Good to see you this morning.
Today is a big day. It's all about the Trump accounts. People at home hear that, and they don't really know what that is. Can you explain it?
Sure. So from 2025, Jan 1 to December 31, 2028, the federal government is going to contribute $1,000 to every newborn, and that will be invested in an index fund in the stock market. Also, during that time, anyone with children under 18 can open accounts for their children and contribute up to $5,000. We're also going to get great top-ups, so employers can add to the accounts. We're going to have philanthropists from all over the country. Michael and Susan Dell have contributed an astounding $6.25 billion for children all around America, and employers can do it also, and we think there may be as many as 20 states. So this is a new kind of philanthropy, and it is bringing the stock market, it is democratizing the stock market, it is bringing it to everyone in America.
And that's fantastic. There is no barrier. Anybody can do this. Everybody is going to prosper. I saw some comments about the sound. You guys have to understand, I am working on 4 different inputs, whether it be from television, whether it be from Twitter, whether it be from my feed service. And I have no idea what the volume is going to be on a certain feed until it actually starts playing. So it may come in and it may come in hot, and then I can adjust it. But somebody complained and said, here, can you do something about the sound tweaks? No, I can't, because I don't control it on their end. So if it comes in a little bit hot, deal with it for a second or two. I see the levels, and if I have to go in and fix it, I will. There's nobody else here. There's nobody in here. This is just me. I don't have an entire staff. I do this at my leisure. Come on. Anyway, let's continue with Scott Bessent before President Trump comes up. That feed is now up, and when it came in, I could see the level on that. It was already hot, so I had to, don't have to wait much longer. Here he comes. So let's bring him on. And it's real hot.
All right, let's get down to business. That's enough of that. But how good is Lee Greenwood? He was with us right from the beginning. First time I walked onto the stage, I heard that song. I liked it. I said, let's use it. That was 10 years ago, and he's been with us all the way. Fantastic guy. There's never been a man that made so much money from one song ever, and I'm happy about it. But I'm delighted to be back in the beautiful Mellon Auditorium, a wonderful family. Tim Mellon is a great guy. He's the current version of the Mellons, a fantastic person. To celebrate a thrilling new milestone for America, the first generation of Trump account children. Trump account children. For the first time ever, we're going to give every newborn American child a financial stake in the future, head start at life, and a fair shot at the American dream, something people don't talk about so much, at least not for the last 4 years they haven't been, but now they're talking about it big. This last period of time, it's been unbelievable. When you see what's going on with our economy, the tremendous investments that's been made in our country. We have over $18 trillion coming in. The most, I think, was 3. That was 10 years ago, another country, not even our country. We have $18 trillion, and we have thousands of businesses being built all over the country, and hundreds of massive plants, so big, car plants, AI plants. With the support of the men and women here in this beautiful room, over the next 15 years, we're going to put $3 to $4 trillion of wealth into the hands of young Americans who otherwise would have really started out with nothing. It's really an amazing thing because it gives young children that start out with really nothing, and it gives them, boy, it's more money than anybody could imagine. From their standpoint, they'll have a real start in life, and that's why decades from now, I believe the Trump accounts will be remembered as one of the most transformative policy innovations of all time. And I've done a lot of them. The tax cuts, we've done a lot of them, more than I think anybody. And I think this is going to be one of the most outstanding. Last summer, I signed the great, big, beautiful bill delivering. It made this possible, too. It actually made this possible. Without it, we wouldn't have been able to do this. Delivering the largest tax cuts in American history, including no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security for our great seniors. And, you know, we did another thing. When you buy a car now, you get a deduction on the interest payment if you borrow money. So think of it. Rich people get so many deductions. I'm the king of deductions. I love deductions. But people, middle-income people, never had a deduction before. Now they're getting a deduction on interest. They buy a car. That's going to have a huge impact on the automobile. By the way, there's one proviso. It has to be made in America. If the car is made in another country, no thank you. But they're all going to be made in America pretty soon because we have factories coming in from Canada, Mexico, Japan, Germany, all over Europe. They're all coming here to make their cars because they don't want to pay tariffs. Very simple. It wasn't very complicated. You'll see those numbers starting to produce. That's why you see these massive construction numbers, and soon when those things start opening, you're going to see employment and you're going to see wealth creation for middle-income people like you've never seen before. Every single Democrat in Congress voted to raise taxes on hardworking citizens. Their whole campaign was raise taxes. I've never heard of it before. All my life I grew up, and I hear politicians, we will cut taxes. This is the only group I've ever seen, we're going to raise your taxes. No wonder they lost. Actually, there were other reasons also. But together with the majorities in the House and Senate, we overcame their obstruction, and we put more money into the pockets of every working American than anyone thought even imaginable. Perhaps no provision of the great big beautiful bill will prove more consequential than Trump accounts. Under this program, the U.S. government will automatically create a tax-free investment account for every newborn American child, something that nobody really would have even thought of. There were some brilliant people that thought of it for a long time. They're here with us today. We're going to introduce a couple of them. But nobody really, I mean, I've had friends at the top people in business. They came up to me, whose idea was this? This is great. They said, I never thought of that. We'll fund those personal accounts with a seed contribution of $1,000, which will compound and grow over the course of their lives and could grow into very, very substantial numbers. Parents, employers, churches, states, and loved ones will also be able to add up to $5,000 in additional money for those accounts. And with every modest contribution, Trump accounts should reach at least $50,000 in value by the time the child turns 18, and could be very substantially more than that. With slightly greater contributions, the typical account will grow to $100,000, $200,000, and can even grow up to past $300,000 per child. And we think most likely, the most likely case is in the $200,000, $300,000 range. The size and scale of this wealth will dwarf all government programs ever created to benefit America's youth. There's never been anything like this. That's why everybody's talking about it. Even really people that truly hate me are making this investment. One person hates my guts. He put $1 billion into it. I said, you must like this program a lot because you can't stand me. I said, I do, but I do like you more than you think. They liked me more in the last year than they liked me before. Although we had a great first term, we can't forget that. We are the greatest economy in the history of our country, but this is blowing it away. So every president, thank you. Every president in modern history has left our children with nothing but debt. But under this administration, we're going to leave every child with real assets and a shot at financial freedom. We'll ensure that Americans don't just end their lives with a nest egg, but instead all Americans will begin their lives with a beautiful nest egg. There's never been anything quite like this. I want to express my tremendous gratitude to a very special couple who believed so strongly in this vision right from the beginning that they personally donated $6.25 billion. That's $6,250,000,000. Even the 250 is a lot of money when you think. I mean, you know, Nicki, do you hear that money? That's big even compared to rapping, all the money she makes. She's hearing a number like that. She'll say, how many songs do I have to make to catch that? But amazing, amazing thing, $6,250,000,000 to fund Trump accounts for an additional 25 million children aged 10 and under. And that's Michael and Susan Dell, two incredible people. Where are you, Michael? Where's Michael? Stand up, Michael. What a great guy. What a great guy. You know, I tell you, he didn't do it for his business. He did it, I guess, probably would have been better off not to. That's a lot. But you know what? I hope everybody goes out and buys Dell computers. My son, I told you, Barron, he loves that computer. I don't know what the hell you're doing to it, but he likes it. But I just want to thank you very much, and Susan. It's unbelievable, really unbelievable what you've done. So Michael and Susan made this donation in recognition of America's 250th anniversary because there's no better way to honor America's history than to invest in America's future. That's what they did. And this is perhaps the largest, one of the largest, certainly, but perhaps the largest private donations of all time. That's a lot, $6,250,000,000. And somebody did say that. A friend of mine, very rich, he's going to put up $100 million. And he said, geez, you know, think of it, the 250 that Michael has is a lot more than mine. And I haven't even talked about the $6 billion. But anyway, it's amazing when Michael can start off with very little money. and build a fortune where he can, routinely make such a payment and investment in the youth of our country. Michael, you're great. Thank you, man. Thank you. And I also want to say hello to and thank some very special people that have been with my administration and really become friends of mine. On occasion, I have little arguments, but generally, I would say really good. And and start off with a man who's doing a phenomenal job, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. Scott, thank you very much, Scott. And he loved this right from the beginning, Scott, right? He saw this and he said, wow, what a great idea that is. This is, hundreds of thousands of dollars by the time they reach 18, but we can go 21. They can keep it in longer. But he saw this right from the beginning. He said, wow, this is great. And we have some other ideas that will be great, but this was one that just hit everybody. This was an easy one to think about. And again, that bill allowed us to do this. Otherwise, can you imagine trying to get this approved by Democrats and Republicans? Let's get together. We got it done. Also, a man who's made your life much easier, because those of you that are building plants and equipment so you can give your money, ultimately you're giving your money away anyway, no matter how much you make. But he's made it a lot easier. Approvals for big plants used to take 20 years, 25 years, and then you'd get rejected, actually. You'd go 20 years environmentally and they'd reject you. You finally, if I think of it, a guy starts young, he starts an approval process. By the time he's middle-aged, they take a vote and he loses. It's not worth it. But we have a man that's getting these things done in a matter of weeks. And the biggest plants in the world are being built right now, and he's getting them done fast. He's getting electric plants built so that we can buy them. They're paying for them. They want to pay for them so they can open up their AI plants and they can open up their automobile plants, and lesser so. The automobiles, believe it or not, take much less electricity. You're going to have to tell me why you need so much electricity to create information. I said, what's your primary product? Information. Oh, I see. Information. It better be damn good information for the kind of money. But Lee Zeldin is a star, and he has been incredible. Thank you, Lee. And, I have to say this, Scott and I were talking about it. So Lee went out to California after the fire, which would have never happened if they would have let the water flow from the Pacific Northwest, which everybody's been telling them, including me. Now I just opened it up. We literally sent in the military to open it up. But if they would have let, you wouldn't have had the fires, because you would have had a little thing called the old-fashioned way, water in the fire hydrants, as opposed to empty fire hydrants. You would have had water, and most of the houses had the sprinklers on top. No, there was no water in their sprinkler in their living room. All those fires wouldn't have started. But they did start, and I will say that Lee, the most difficult permit was Lee. I went there a couple of days after the fire, met so many people on the streets who were, in many cases, fairly wealthy people, some very rich people. Some of the best houses in California burned down. And I said to them, so what do you want to do? They said, sir, we want to start immediately. Well, we'll get you permits. Now, the hardest permit, Lee, was the federal permit. Is that right? He got everything done in 20 days, right? The whole thing? Is that a correct statement or less? 20 days. So he got everything done, 100% ready to go. And I went for a meeting, and this mayor, who's a grossly incompetent person, she said, we're going to try and have the permits done within 2 years. Remember that? I got into an argument. I said, you mean within 2 days, right? She said, no. And I'm meeting all these people as I'm walking along the streets with the fire departments and the policemen, and they're all devastated. They're still smoldering. They weren't even allowed to go in their property. The Environmental Protection Agency local said, don't go on your property, okay? We said, it's okay, don't worry about it. Any problem is gone. Any problem is burned. Any germs are burned. They're burned. They were burned. Nobody's ever seen anything like it, but all so unnecessary that it happened. But we got it all done in 20 days, the whole place. And yet now, still, more than a year later, they don't have permits. Almost nobody is building. So I haven't told this to Lee Zeldin yet, but I'm going to put you in charge of getting permits. I think we're going to override the local authorities because they're never going to have it. And when I was told that there's a provision where you can override the local authority to get things done, case of, because it's really, to me, it's a national emergency. What they've done to these people is horrible. It's just horrible. And they'll still vote Democrat. Can you believe it? After all, it's just, they get used to it. Although I must say we converted many. We'll probably convert a lot more. But I just want them to get into their houses. And I don't want a big section of the area built into low-income housing. They want to put low-income housing right smack in the middle of it. And that's not the American dream, you know? You didn't do that. And low-income housing is great. I built a lot of low-income housing, but you don't put it there. This is one of the richest neighborhoods in the world, and we're going to let those people. And I recommended strongly that everybody gets the approval, immediate approval to build a house, and you give them a 10% bonus so they can build a house 10% larger than they had before, if they want, for all the suffering they've been caused. So they can build a little bit bigger house. So Lee, if you want, will you accept the job? He's under a lot of stress. Okay, all right? Override those people. Those people are incompetent. Between the mayor and the governor, they're incompetent. They'll never get approved. They'll never get approved. So do whatever you can, Lee. There's a provision that you're allowed to do it, and I'll sign it in 2 seconds, frankly. It'll never happen. I also want to introduce a man, Frank Basigno. Now, if you met Frank, and if you knew Frank, he's quiet, but he's actually a stone-cold killer. He was one of the biggest people in business. He would have been sitting with you. In fact, now he's got a better seat because he's working for the government. He's the head of a lot of things, but the job he's done in this country is great, and he's working on Social Security and a thing called the IRS. He's working with Scott on both of them, really, but the IRS in particular. And he is a fantastic man. Where are you, Frank? Took the biggest pay cut in history. He went from being paid $35 million a year to being paid about $35 a year. I think you may have taken the biggest pay cut in history. He'd be close. He'd be one of the top 5. Because a few people have done that. A few billionaires have sort of left. But Frank has gone from one of the most successful people. He worked with Jamie Dimon. I don't think Jamie likes me too much nowadays, but that's okay. I never minded that. But Frank, you are fantastic, and you're doing a great job. We appreciate it. Thank you. And thank you to their family. The director of National Economic Council, a man who's in the news a lot. You know, my only problem is I don't want to lose him. I will tell you that he's working from a big deficit because I don't want to lose him. He's so good. Kevin Hassett. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Kevin. A friend of mine, a senator who has been unbelievable. She's a tremendous woman, married to a great football player. Her husband is a massive man. This guy, he played in the NFL, I guess, for 11 years. He was top-of-the-line player. I met him. I said, that's not a normal situation. Look at this guy. This guy was seriously powerful, big, and he's as nice as he is big. And she is one of our best senators, Senator Katie Britt. Thank you, darling. From Alabama. I love Alabama. We love Alabama. Marsha Blackburn is an incredible person. Unfortunately, she's running for governor. She's running for governor of Tennessee. I'd love her not to. I begged her. I said, Marsha, we don't want to lose you in the Senate. But I have to say they're lucky. They're lucky to get you because you are a talent and a great person. And you've been with me all the way, and I appreciate it. And you're a very special person. Marsha, stand up, please. And a senator who's a friend of mine, you wouldn't believe that because we went through a rough campaign together. It was nasty. We got along so well, and we actually did joint rallies. Can you believe it? He wanted to get somebody action, so he's smart. He said, would you do a rally with me? But we did joint rallies, and the press used to say, will you ever, start fighting? I said, don't worry, it'll come. He said the same thing. Don't worry, it'll come. He's a very tough guy, very brilliant guy. In fact, when I said, because I had never gone into a debate before officially, my whole life was a debate, but I'd never debated before officially. And I said, let me find out about my competition, who are these people? Because many of them, you know, they were senators and mostly senators and governors. And I said, well, why don't we start with this guy named Ted Cruz? Let me, well, he was the best student at Harvard, #1 in his class. He was the best student at Princeton or something. And he was the national debate champion for 3 years. And I said, well, I don't like that. I didn't know that. I don't like that. And he was a very good debater, I will tell you that. He's a smart guy. But I'll never forget, because he was the first one I looked at. I just joined the ranks of politics. And the first famous, that was the Rosie O'Donnell. Remember that? Only Rosie O'Donnell? Ireland, you can keep her. Ireland has done us tremendous. The head of Ireland said, are all your people this way? We don't want that. But Ted Cruz has one thing that I like. If I ever have problems, because it's hard to get people approved, he's a brilliant legal mind. He's a brilliant man. If I nominate him for the United States Supreme Court, I will get 100% of the vote. The Democrats will vote for him because they want to get him the hell out. And the Republicans will vote for him because they want to get him the hell out, too. Where's Ted? Where are you, Ted? And with all of that being said, he's a great guy, too. He's a great guy. We've become friends, and he's a very effective person, too. Thank you, Ted, very much. The man knows more about tax than anybody that I know. Jason Smith, Congressman, wonderful person. Thanks, Jason. Thank you, Jason. Great job. Idaho Governor Brad Little, terrific guy. Thank you, Brad. Georgia Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones, who hopefully will be the governor of Georgia very shortly. They have a big race. He's leading by a lot in the polls. He was outstanding as a lieutenant governor. He's great everywhere, and I've endorsed him fully, so I don't want to, do anything that you don't know about. I have given him my complete and total endorsement. Burt Jones, where are you, Burt? Thank you, Burt. Great guy. Chief Design Officer of the United States, Joe Gebbia. Joe, thank you. Great idea, great ideas. Also, we have Mr. Wonderful, Kevin O'Leary. I like Kevin O'Leary. Where's Kevin O'Leary? Come on. Kevin, it's so nice. He's with me 90% of the time, but when he's with me, he's really with me. Great. And we got the TikTok deal done. Who the hell thought we could do that, right? I know. I wish he wanted to buy TikTok so much, and I would have done it, but his price was slightly lower. Slightly. He's fantastic. What a good, you're an entertainer, businessman, you had the whole quality, so I appreciate. I know what you do. Having done The Apprentice, I see you on television, you have what it takes, right? So I appreciate it, and thanks for all the nice things you do. And Cheryl Hines, where's Cheryl? Wow. Married to a very, very powerful, important man. And I said, I'll tell you, Bobby, she's strong. I watched her in an interview. I said, Bobby, you keep him in line, don't you, huh? She said, yes, I do. She's got no choice. He's doing a great job, and so are you. Yeah, he's doing a great job. He's doing a very different kind of a job, too, and he's doing things that people have wanted to do for a long time. And they didn't have the courage, so say hello to Bobby, okay? We're also pleased, my daughter, she went crazy when she heard that this was happening. I want to go. She happens to be in the wrong state right now for that, but when she heard that there's a certain person that's here who's the greatest and most successful female rapper in history, Nicki Minaj. Come on. And, and Nicki makes a lot of cash. Not as much as Michael Dell. Not quite. Not as much. But that's okay. But Nicki makes a lot of money, and she's generously stepping up. She's investing hundreds of thousands of dollars in Trump accounts to support the children and really the children of her incredible fans. That's great. Focus on that. Why should you give to somebody else's fans? Give to your fans. I like that. But, and I just think she's great. I've been hearing so much over the years, because I didn't know Nicki, and I've been hearing over the years she's a big Trump supporter and a Trump fan, and she took a little heat on occasion. Her community isn't necessarily, I tell you, we did pretty damn well with that, with your community, as we say. But Nicki has been an unbelievable supporter. She gets almost as much as Mr. Wonderful over here. He's been another one that's been so good. But I'd like to ask you to come up, Nicki. Come on up. Come on. She's been such a great supporter, and a great supporter of Trump accounts. And I said, I am going to let my nails grow because I love those nails. I'm going to let those nails grow. She's so good. She's been MAGA. What can I say? She's been with us all the way. Right, Alex? She's been with us all the way. And just want to thank her. And it wasn't so easy. For you, it was easier, right? You want to come up? You want to come up? Mr. Wonderful, come on up here. You've been terrific. Come on up.
Hello. Well, I don't know what to say, but I will say that I am probably the president's #1 fan. And that's not going to change. And the hate or what people have to say, it does not affect me at all. It actually motivates me to support him more. And it's going to motivate all of us to support him more. We're not going to let them get away with bullying him and, the smear campaigns. It's not going to work, okay? He has a lot of force behind him, and God is protecting him. Amen.
Thank you.
On behalf of all the entrepreneurs in America, I'd like to thank you, Mr. President, because we create 72% of the jobs. Companies 5 to 500 employees, and all we care about is policy. We love policy, pro-business policy, and these accounts are fantastic for independence and support. I thank you very much. It's all about the entrepreneur, and I think you know that, sir.
Well, that was great. A little interlude. I don't know. That's better than getting Scott Bessent up. Thank you both very much. Two terrific people. When Trump accounts officially launch on July 4th of this year, every parent will be able to activate their accounts and access the funds at the trumpaccounts.gov. So it's all set up, all ready to go. It's beautiful. The site is beautiful. On that glorious day, we also expect to have commitments from generous private individuals in all 50 states, and they'll be making additional contributions for children in their own states. And already, legendary investor Ray Dalio has pledged to adopt the entire state of Connecticut. That's pretty good, Michael. And thank you very much, Ray. Great legend. And today, one of the original advocates of this program has agreed to adopt his home state of Indiana, Brad Gerstner. And Brad's here someplace? Where's Brad? Come on. I think Michael and Brad, would you come up here, please? Come up here. I mean, this isn't exactly Mr. Wonderful and Nicki, but I think they might be worth more money than Mr. Wonderful, right? These guys are worth a lot of money. But Brad is donating, listen to this, $250 to Trump accounts for all children under 5 in Indiana. So every children, all the children under 5, $250, and he'll be donating tens of millions of dollars more in matching contributions to millions of children all across the country. He's going to make a massive donation, already we know what it is. Brad is not only one of the most successful business people, he's the founder of the Invest America Foundation, and he's been working on this idea for years, and he was the one. He went over to see Michael. Michael loved it, and those two were a hell of a team, along with Mrs. Dell, who's been so great, Susan. I also delighted to report that dozens of major employers have signed up to add the Trump account contributions to the employee benefit packages, including Uber, Schwab, Charter Communications, and many, many others. And just today it was announced that Intel, NVIDIA, Broadcom, IBM, Steak and Shake, Coinbase, Continental Resources, and Comcast have all signed up for really big contributions. So I want to thank them. I want to have you two guys come on up. Would you say a couple of words? Brad and Michael, would you say a couple of words? That's a fantastic. Only Indiana. You can't do bigger. We love Indiana, but you know, how about Indiana, Iowa? No, we appreciate it. Big numbers. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, 4 years ago, we set off on a journey to reconnect every child in America with the American dream. This president ran on a Main Street agenda that too many people had been left out and left behind. And his articulation of no tax on tips, that doesn't help rich folks. That helps those left out and left behind. No tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime. And when Ted Cruz authored the Invest America Act in the Senate, and Michael Dell partnered with me to bring the private sector to bear on this, we had the opportunity that this president was willing to sign. He immediately understood the impact. That this wasn't about the wealthy folks in America. This was about the 50 million American families who will be lifted up and reconnected to the American dream, because this is now the law of the land. Forevermore, every child in America, from rural Missouri to rural Indiana, from Trenton to Compton, is going to start off life with an investment account at birth, seated with $1,000, where they privately own NVIDIA and Microsoft, all the greatest companies in this country, right? Not dependent on government, independent from government. Not more socialism. The answer to more socialism is more capitalism. This makes every child in America a capitalist from birth, and it would not have happened without the leadership of our Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, without the leadership of the Speaker and Ted Cruz in the Senate, but most importantly, and every business leader in America will tell you this, for too long they had no access in Washington to the White House. People didn't want to hear their ideas. This president is voracious in his desire to hear from America's leaders about how to make America better. This is citizen democracy at its best. An idea that started around a kitchen table in Silicon Valley makes its way to this day. I'm humbled and honored to be here, and I'm grateful for your leadership.
Thank you, Mr. President. As you heard from Brad, the fact that this bill got passed itself was a miracle, and it creates a platform for communities, for families, for corporations, for philanthropists to add to these accounts. And in not too many years, essentially every child in America will have savings invested in the greatest companies in this country. And that will change the face of this country over the next 10, 20, 30 years. We couldn't be more excited about this and the opportunity to make a difference. The best investment a country can make is in its people, especially in its children. And this creates an incredible platform for that to occur at enormous scale. And we're excited to see it all come together. Thank you all so much.
Those are two fantastic people, I can tell you that. I want to give a very special thanks to some of the CEOs here this morning. Vlad Tenev of Robinhood, what a job he's done. Where's Vlad? What a job you've done. Young guy. Nice young guy, too. Arjun Sethi of Kraken. Arjun, thank you very much, wherever you are. Thank you. Anthony Noto of SoFi Technologies. SoFi. Thank you very much, Anthony. Right. These are the ones you read about, and Bill Ackman is here, Pershing Square, and Hock Tan of Broadcom, and so many others that if I name them, we'll be up here all day. But I just want to say that what a job you've all done. Incredible job. Everybody. Just about everybody in this room. Not everybody. I'm not in love with everybody, but a couple of them I don't like very much. But if they're here, I'm starting to like them a lot better because they're here for a very good reason. I'm officially calling on all employers all across America to follow the lead of many of these amazing companies and make matching Trump account contributions to benefit for the American worker, and they're going to benefit the American worker so much. This morning, I'm also pleased to announce that Visa is creating a brand new platform which will allow credit card holders to deposit their cashback rewards directly into Trump accounts. That's a big deal. Visa. Thank you. Where's Visa? The head of Visa. Thank you very much, Visa. These initiatives could not come at a better moment because there's never been a better time to invest in the United States of America than right now. Who knew it would have happened this fast? I inherited a mess. We were a country that was laughed at a year and a half ago. We were laughed at. Now we're the hottest country anywhere in the world. Nobody even close. So, who knew this was going to take place this quickly? Right, Michael? I didn't think it was going to go that fast. I knew we were going to do it, but I thought it would take a couple of years at least. Just a couple of days longer than the first year, so it's really amazing. And just this morning as I'm running out, I see the S&P 500 hit 7,000 for the first time ever. So I say America is back. America is back. Since the election, the stock market has set 52 all-time record highs, adding $9 trillion in value. And $18 trillion of investment is pouring into the country. It's going to be higher than that. Just over 1 year ago, we were a country that lost its way. We were mocked and scorned, and every American child will now be and have access to something that is really incredible, and they can watch directly the economic boom that's taking place. This is a boom that's taking place, the likes of which we've really never seen. I don't think people, get it yet. Not a lot of people, they don't get it. They don't see the thousands of businesses being built, the hundreds and hundreds of massive factories that are going up all over. But they're going to start to see it. They're starting to see it. I mean, if they're modestly intelligent, if they're very intelligent, they saw it about a year ago. With us today is Craig Smith, a fourth-generation family farmer and volunteer firefighter from Culpeper, Virginia, along with his wonderful wife, Heather. Craig and Heather have an 18-month-old son and a 1-month-old that they also welcomed just recently, twin boys. And they can't wait to activate Trump accounts for all three of their children this July 4th. Craig and Heather, do you want to come up here, Craig and Heather? Where are you, Craig and Heather? Come on up, Craig and Heather, come on up. Come on up. It meant so much to them. People write letters. Every once in a while you get a letter, it just hits you. Craig and Heather, come on up. Thank you. That's great. Wow, look at this family, huh? They're a rich family now. The kids are richer than the parents. That's the way we want it. I thank you very much. Wow.
We just want to thank President Trump for all of his hard work and dedication to American families and farm families like ours. Farming is not always easy and sometimes margins are tight, so investments like this into our children really help us to buy diapers and formula and not have to worry about making financial decisions for them this early on. So thank you very much, President Trump.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. So nice. Also joining us today is the Goins family from Fayetteville, Arkansas. Charlie works in manufacturing, and he's here with his wife, Savannah, his high school sweetheart. In 2022, Charlie and Savannah opened their home to foster care, really expecting to take in one child, but soon they were taking in a family of 3 siblings and formally adopting them. A short time later, Charlie and Savannah also welcomed a biological daughter. Trump accounts will give each of these children a much better start in life. And Charlie and Savannah, where are you? Are you down there? Do you want to come up? Come on up here, Charlie, real fast. We're holding up a lot of big business people. We can't hold them up. Michael will take back his donation. Say what? I want my money back. Come on up here. These are great families, but there's millions and millions of families that are going to be so amazed and so happy at what's taken place. Sort of a miracle, I think. Nice to see you. How are you? How are you? Oh, look at that. So nice. Nice. How are you?
Thank you, President Trump, for having my family and me here today. My wife and I have spent the better part of our adult lives working to advance children in our community, and it was our faith that first led us to open our home to foster care, and it was God's plan that allowed us absolutely. And it was God's plan that allowed us to adopt 3 amazing children out of foster care, to welcome so many more, and of course, this past year, welcome our youngest daughter, Florence, into the world. It's through our experience that we've seen how opportunity, or the lack thereof, can really impact a child at the very beginning stages of their life before they even get a chance themselves. And that's why, my wife and I, along with some of the work that the First Lady is doing, we are working to help foster families, foster and adoptive families, and personally in our state with protections and support in our home state of Arkansas. Every child deserves hope, stability, and a strong chance at a strong future. And for young families, especially like ours, that your first priorities are, of course, your diapers and your wipes and your car seats and all that stuff. And so starting and investing into a investment account is not necessarily on the top of the priority list. And we're so thankful to have this. And I think this sends a powerful message that this administration believes that financial opportunity can start early, that it is intentional, and that it can impact every single family. And my wife and I are so excited that this administration has placed families and children like ours at the forefront of economic policy. And we're so excited for the future of the children and for this country. Thank you.
That's a great job. I was wondering how much longer he could. Did you notice it? It's getting heavy. It's still 50 pounds or something. Right? I said, how much longer is that? And finally, it broke loose. But you could see a loving father there, couldn't you? Huh? The way he did that, right? Wasn't that a loving father? I watched that. He was grabbing. That's a great family. Thank you very much, both. Beautiful. So in conclusion, the ultimate success of the Trump accounts will be measured not just in the wealth created. It will be seen in young people buying houses that they could never have even dreamed of buying. It'll be seen in diplomas earned, companies founded, families formed, and more babies born. It'll really be seen in something where you're given a chance. You're given a chance at life, a very good chance. Above all, the Trump accounts will help bring the hope and prosperity to every community that every community wants to see. And it'll bring back the American dream. The American dream is so beautiful. I would mention it all the time when I'm running. Whenever I run, I talk about the American dream because that's what we want to create. Others don't talk about it. But we have the American dream back, I think now, maybe better than ever before. For generations, Washington politicians have done nothing to take from the hardworking people of our country. They take and take. They do nothing but take. They've made workers' lives harder, sent prices higher, pushed your dreams out of reach. And both parties, I mean, they didn't do the job that they were supposed to do. Some were fighting, and sometimes we fight against some of the great politicians we have here. They fight with me, most of them, and we fight to make things better. But we run into walls of other politicians that either don't want to do something or they almost feel like it's a destruction of our country. But now we're doing something much better than giving the next generation a handout. We're giving them ownership of America's future so that they can grow up, chart their own destiny, and make our nation greater and stronger and better than ever before. So I just want to thank all of the people that participated today, the great business leaders, the great celebrities, and all of the people that are in this room. You've done so much. And I just want to also give a little bit of a shout out to a lot of great politicians that are right now voting on some very important measures, plus the politicians in this room. They have really worked hard on this. This is something that it's amazing that it got done. If you knew the political process, it was very complex, very hard to get done, to get all of those votes together. But we did it, and it's going to be great for America. And Brad and Michael, thank you both very much. Special, special people. Thank you very much. And God bless everybody in the room, and God bless America. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you. Thank you.
They wanted him to hit the dance, and he just started smiling. That's too funny. All right, so people were asking about the earlier part of the program where they really got into the, I guess you would say, the nuts and bolts of everything. I've got that as well. I'll go ahead and get that queued up here during the break. Just wanted to say, you know, I've been talking about prosperity and building wealth and understanding it. And ever since we've talked about it, there have been so many people who have been so resistant for whatever reason. And I equate it to some form of Stockholm syndrome, where they've created this message and altered people's brains and says you're supposed to do things this way. That's it. Go to work 40 years, 30 years, 40 hours a week, every single day. Do what you need to do, pay your taxes, and then die. And it's so funny. He slid something in this message that I hope some of you heard, because I have actually said it. I have said, if you are filing your taxes with a 1040 EZ form, you're getting ripped off. And President Trump came out and said, yeah, well, I love deductions. You guys, are you deducting stuff? And it was almost inquisitive. Do you understand how much taxes you don't have to pay? No one's going to tell you, hey, did you know you could write this off? You know that you can deduct this? You know you can? No, they're not going to tell you. Nobody in the government prior to President Trump is going to call you, hey, by the way, you pay too much. If you had clicked this box, if you had, attached this, if you'd done this schedule. How many of you have even looked at the various schedules that you can attach to a tax form? I'm telling you, there are so many legal deductions that every single Democrat is using. At the same time, they're saying, let's raise your taxes. They're talking about raising your taxes, not theirs. You notice there's never anything on the news where they say we're going to take away this deduction or we're going to eliminate this form. No, they don't ever talk about that. Let's raise this. Let's raise the visible taxes, because the sheep out here don't know what else they could be doing. Let's put 20 cents of gas taxes on it. Let's do sales taxes. Let's raise sales taxes. Let's air you breathe taxes. Because 90% of the population has no clue as to how to do it. And he said it jokingly. And I was wondering if you guys heard it. Like, I love deductions. You guys, you like all the deductions? And I'm sure people in the audience were like, oh yeah, we love the deductions. And I'm sure people here watching were going, what deductions? What are you talking about? How can I get deductions? Been taught this a long time ago, and I say it quite a bit on this show. Avoiding taxes is highly encouraged. You are encouraged to avoid paying as much in taxes as you possibly can. Avoid it all. Evading taxes is what's illegal. And there are too many people who don't know the difference between avoid and evade. This one's encouraged. This one is really good for you to avoid paying taxes. This one here will put you in jail. And not enough people look on this side. They have the fear of this happening, of going to jail because they're evading taxes, excuse me, but they're not understanding all the tools and strategies and things that you could do to avoid paying taxes. Two very different words with two very different meanings and two very different outcomes. And nobody talks about it. And the Democrats get on TV, and the little socialists and communists don't want you keeping your own money. This makes them seethe. It makes their skin crawl. But they love it. You see, they'll go around and burn up Minnesota and do whatever they got to do, and they're going to talk on television and say their crazy stuff. You know, fire Kristi Noem, everything to divert from what's most important in your life. See, while you're listening to this, and hopefully you're learning things, you have to realize that the stuff that the Trump administration is talking about is stuff that can help your life, you personally. There's something that can help enrich you, where you become somewhat agnostic to whatever the Democrats do. Have you ever felt that you could become completely agnostic to Democrat strategies? You could insulate yourself completely? Go ahead and do your craziness. I don't care. I know you're never going to do away with 1, 2, 3, and 4 because you're using it. And so that's the whole key behind things, is if you understand what they do and that they will never get away from what they do, then maybe you might want to do what they're doing, and you can insulate yourself and become agnostic to anything the Democrats could ever do when they get in control, if that ever happens, God forbid. It's all about knowledge. And I really feel bad for people. Look how bright it just got. I really feel bad for people in our own audience here, our own family, who have an issue at all with prosperity. I mean, I really do. I wish I could help you more, but man, it's kind of hard to talk to people who have been completely inbred with this. So I haven't seen it all yet, but I think what I'm going to show you is a little bit more of the technical side of things with the speakers that came up before President Trump. So I'm going to go to break, and then we'll go into that segment.
to Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
I didn't have that on. I should have had that on from the beginning. Okay, so I'm going to have to go back because I had the music on and I had to start over. All right, so testing, 1, 2, 3, it's on. If your strength, energy, or drive has slipped, this isn't a mindset issue. It's physiology. As men age, testosterone signaling, mitochondrial energy, and recovery decline. That means weaker workouts, slower muscle repair, low motivation, and poor sleep. It also could mean other things kind of slow down as well. Alpha Gold Male is built around ingredients that support the systems behind male performance. It includes ashwagandha, which is studied for supporting testosterone signaling, stress resilience, and recovery. And shilajit extract helps support mitochondrial energy and nutrient transport. Big words for it. It helps you do things that you have been declining in, if you know what I mean. It's not just that thing down there. It's also if you cut yourself, if you're working out and you're tired, if you're swimming and you're sore, your body doesn't recover as fast as it used to. I think you already know that. You wake up in the morning like, oh man, this really hurts. Well, that's because your body just isn't producing enough of the big T. It's critical for strength and stamina. Fenugreek supports healthy testosterone pathways and physical performance, and then zinc and magnesium play key roles in hormone signaling, and zinc helps bind all this stuff together. Muscle function, nighttime recovery, you gotta like that. And this isn't about forcing hormones or using stimulants. It's about supporting hormone signaling, cellular energy, and recovery, the things that actually determine how you perform overall and feel. Men report stronger workouts, steadier energy, better motivation, and much deeper sleep. If you want real support for strength, energy, and drive, all over drive, Alpha Gold Male is linked below. Get your edge back. Go to bloodflow7.com/Barry and get 30% off today. That's bloodflow7.com/Barry. And I know a lot of people don't like talking about that the same way they don't like talking about, well, I don't know why. I don't know why it's become such a panacea, a problem for people to actually relate and talk about. So that being juvenile, I'm going to go into the next segment of what they're calling here the Catalyst for Change, Philanthropy and the 50-State Trump's Challenge. This is pretty interesting. So let's get to this.
Clearly, Michael, you like this idea, I think, right?
I love this idea. You know, Brad talked to me about this first in 2021, and I immediately loved the idea. We know that the most important thing a country can do is invest in its people, especially its children. And for all the reasons that you mentioned, I'm sure we'll get into more of the details. Totally love the idea.
Brad, the brain trust of this, where did it come from?
Well, first, it's great to be here, and it's pretty extraordinary to be here with my partner and dear friend, Michael. I grew up a poor kid in Indiana.
You seem to have done okay.
In rural Indiana. And I watched my dad lose everything in 1979. And so I know a little something about starting with nothing. And When this president ran for office, he said, my agenda is the Main Street agenda. The 50 million families that have been left out and left behind, that are disconnected to the American dream. And so when we were coming out of COVID in 2021, I had a conversation with my kids around the kitchen table and showed them the accounts I had set up for them at birth. And my son Lincoln, who's here today, asked me a very simple question. He said, what about all the other kids? And we talked about the wealth gap in the country. And we talked about the challenge of growing up with nothing. And then he turned to me and said, well, what are you going to do about it? And that started us on a journey around founding the Invest America Foundation, the Invest America Act, but it would never have happened without the courage, without the partnership of Michael and the courage of this president. That's where it comes from. It comes from a love of country and an understanding that we're losing that connection to the American dream, and that stops today. Today and forevermore, every child born in America becomes a shareholder in America. Every child gets an investment account at birth. It'll be seeded with $1,000, but families, moms and dads, philanthropists, the greatest philanthropists in the country, and they all want to contribute. And states and corporations, you're going to hear much more about that today. And so you get that little snowball that Warren Buffett talks to us about. You get it rolling at age 0. These kids will have $50,000 at 18, $200,000 at age 30, $1 million at age 55, and they own and control it. They learn about finances. So I mean, don't get me on the soapbox. You know, this has been my life. And
twice as much if their company matches the government's contribution, which many great companies have already contributed.
I think it's a
said they're going to do
idea.
that.
You know, Michael, be specific, because many people don't understand how is it that this grows. It's going into the S&P 500 index, the engine of America, and in a very inexpensive way. Most people, and as I've learned, because of the lack of financial education at an early age, don't understand there's a difference between just putting money into a savings account and doing this. Explain that a little bit. What's inside? What's the engine that makes this work?
Well, the engine is you're investing in the great American companies.
Including yours.
Including ours, but essentially it's the S&P 500. And those are, you know, the 500 largest, most successful companies in America. And, you know, the equity in those investments, you know, has proven to be a fantastic investment over time. I believe certainly markets will fluctuate, but you know, over a 10, 20-year period, these accounts are likely to grow quite substantially. And more importantly, you know, let's understand that if you don't have any capital, there's no reason to learn anything about it. And one of the hopes here is that
now you've got skin in the game.
We got skin in the game. We've got a reason to want to understand how companies work and how capitalism works, and to you know, learn about those things. We already have about 2/3 of the states require some amount of financial literacy, hopefully all of them. And yeah, when you're in 7th grade, all right, let's look up your account and see how much you have. You see you've got a little bit of all of these great companies. It's compounding, it's growing. You know, when I was 8 years old, I had the great opportunity to get a passbook savings account. Okay, and I had a few dollars in there, and you'd go there and you'd, you know, give them another $1 and they'd stamp the book, and, you know, kind of learned about compound interest. I had the also great situation. My mother was a stockbroker, okay? So she was teaching me about investing and about capital, about companies.
You were trading at 8 years old.
Pretty much, yeah. So learned about all that from a very early age. And if we can spark that interest in some of the 70 million kids that we have in this country, that will have been a wonderful thing.
So Brad, that's likely to happen, because when you become cognizant of what money is, it could be, these days, kids get pretty smart pretty soon. They've got a lot of technology on their side. At some point, they'll be able to look at their phone and say, whoa, look at that. Won't that incentivize more interest in understanding what's going on there?
No doubt about it, and it's already happening, right? The problem is it's only happening for a few kids in America. If you're a kid in this country with money, Then you come to your parents, you say, hey, I want a Robinhood account. I want to trade my account. These kids, we have great CEOs here of companies like Robinhood and Schwab, et cetera. They know these kids want to use these phones. The problem is everybody else. And that's the important point here, Kevin. This is not about an account that's going to change the lives of my kids.
So
my
this
kids were
account
already
will be on their phones. They'll be able to see it.
Every single child in America, all they need to do is claim the account. We need every parent in America to claim the account that we're going to create on the 250th anniversary of America for their child. And to be precise, the money in these accounts for 75 years, the S&P 500 is compounded at 10.2%. This is the greatest economy with the greatest companies in the history of the world, and we're going to make every single citizen a shareholder. That is a transformational change in the social contract, in the promise that we're making for this country. You heard the secretary say, we're in a battle for the soul of America. We are in a battle for the soul of America. It's time to give everybody the opportunity to share in this upside.
So to claim your account, simply done online, your social security number, that's it, and it starts.
So, the great fortune here is we're attacking this like a Silicon Valley startup in terms of building the app under the great leadership of Secretary.
I want to jump in here because I'm hearing reading some of the comments where people aren't getting this. There's no qualification here. There's nothing for you to do. All the babies that are going to be born automatically get an account. Bam. They are going to have all this money as they get older. Now, grandkids, other kids, you can create other accounts for them. I saw somebody in the chat and they said, well, this has nothing to do with me. I'm too old. Well, it kind of does, because I would think, even at my age, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. I've got a grandson that's 16, and then there's two girls that are a little bit younger. And you can begin they don't have to have been born, tomorrow or whatever, or January. You can start building this stuff with them as well. You can open up these accounts. You can invest into your family. Somebody else had put in here and said, deductions are fine, but you have to have a certain amount of money to deduct. Are you guys just making shit up? I'm serious. Because I don't understand sometimes when people put stuff in the chat, because I look like, what in the hell are you talking about? You have to have a certain amount of money to deduct something. That's the problem. There's people out there all over the place who are talking and saying things, and you can't do this and you can't do that, when they don't really know what the hell they're talking about. You have to have a certain amount of money to deduct something? No, you don't. That tells me we are way behind in financial literacy. We are so far behind in understanding what is available to you and how you personally can prosper from it. It's amazing when I see some of the comments. I'm like, huh? What are you talking about? Now understand, this program is not an if or a when. It starts in July. It's a part of the 250 kickoff. Every single baby will all of a sudden, bam, have an investment account. This is something you might want to go dig into. You might want to start really digging in. These guys are talking, and I think they're trying to bring it down to a level that people can understand, and it's still confusing people. Because it's been designed, our entire economy and financial investment programs have been almost designed to keep lower people out. And as I've said many times, leaving Fox on or leaving CNBC on, which is better for you? If you want to just, languish by watching riots and craziness, or if you want to prosper, which there's nothing wrong, and it's encouraged. There's a reason why these three rich guys are sitting there. There's a reason why your president is rich. He probably didn't pay as much attention to that kind of news as this kind of news. And I understand there's not a lot of people talking about it for some reason. I know the other stuff gets clicks and likes and stuff like that because people like, you know, the whole thing, if it bleeds, it leads. With me, if it's green, it leads. That's what I want to talk about.
Treasury Secretary who's helping to lead the charge, Joe Gebbia, one of the co-founders of Airbnb, is actually designing the app on our behalf. And we understand in Silicon Valley, you got to remove all of the friction. One click, get your account. We want it as automatic as possible. We want every family to claim this account. And then even more importantly, we want it to be super simple for moms and dads and friends of the family to add $5, to add $10 to Apple Pay, double click on your phone. And instead of buying that Frappuccino, drop an extra $5 into your kid's account. If you do that every week, and if you save $50 extra a week, it's transformational in the lives of your kids. And I'll just leave you with this. We ran a study 2 years ago. Kevin Hassett was one of the people who helped us do that study along with Rob Shapiro. There's a common belief in America that poor folks don't save. But you want to know the truth? Poor cohorts save if they have an account. The problem is that most folks in this country don't have an investment account and they don't have a savings account. We are going to unleash all of those moms and dads love their kids just as much as folks who have money. We're going to unleash the power of them saving on behalf of their kids. And when you combine the power of philanthropists, the power of corporations, but most importantly, moms and dads, birthday parties and bar mitzvahs, right? That $5 or $10 a week, I think that is going to be the most transformational change.
So in that vision, when the child turns 18 and has access to these funds, that becomes the anchor, the basis upon which they build their financial future. This account can be extended, broadened out, maybe more sophisticated where they buy and sell their own stocks and bonds. It's a financial literacy launch pad in a way, because if you're right, and I'm sure you are, if you don't have an account, you can't do any of this stuff. Now you do. You're basically gifted one at birth. You don't know what it is for the first 36 months. Then somebody starts pointing to it and saying, look at this, it's yours. And by then it's grown.
I came to Michael, told him about the idea. But the most important and transformational part about the idea is I said, Michael, this isn't a government program. This isn't coming to bended knee to the government where the government controls the account and then we're dependent, increased dependency on government. It's the exact opposite of UBI. This is the antidote to socialism. The antidote to socialism is more capitalism. And I said, Michael, this is a direct giving platform. If we create universal private ownership from birth, Michael, will you invest into those accounts? And tell us a little bit, Michael, about the study that you went through with Susan, your incredible wife, and the Dell Foundation, and the conclusions you came to that are leading a lot of other people to follow.
Yeah, so our foundation has been focused on children from the beginning, and we've already given several $1 billion away, and I would say invested several $1 billion. And we looked at this program kind of like what you're describing as sort of a platform. And there have been a number of smaller versions of this at states and in other countries. And what our study found was that when a child has an account like this, they are way more likely to graduate from high school, to go on to college and graduate, to buy a home, to not be incarcerated, to be a contributing member of society, and it improves the mental health of both the child and the parent, even with a relatively small sum. And so that is why we wanted to participate in this in a big way. Originally, you and I went back and forth on these discussions, and with Susan as well, and we were like, well, what if we did Texas, and then we sort of said, well, let's just go big, right? And so we said, well, it's the 250th anniversary of the birth of the nation. $250 to 25 million children would cover most of the children that are born between 2016 and 2024, so the 2 to 10-year-olds, because the government's covering the 0 to 2. And we targeted our gift to the zip codes where the median income is less than $150,000. So that, my kids are
So
older
you're
now.
basically providing the bonus round to this. That's what's happening.
Well, this is to get them started on their financial journey, and of course we have Ray and Barbara Dalio, who have decided to do exactly what we're doing, but in the state of Connecticut. So those kids will get $500, and I think there's going to be other similar announcements. We've talked to lots of folks.
Let's not be coy here, Michael.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it.
Do we have any similar
I'm going to do it in the state of Indiana. We're going to announce that, coming up
Thank
here,
you, Brad.
my home state. We're going to get all 50 states in this country. I can tell you this. We have 250 wealthy people in this country who signed the Giving Pledge, Kevin. The problem with that is they don't know how to give the money away. If you're fortunate enough to start a computer business in your college dorm and have it become the most successful computer business in the history of the world, like the guy sitting next to me, how do you effectively, we are the most giving nation in the history of the world. Most of the rest of the world, they protect their wealth, generation skipping trust, dynastic wealth. If you talk to the richest 250 people in America, they want to give it away. That is a uniquely American phenomenon. But how do you give it away? Now we're going to cut out the middleman, cut out the charities, that are taking that scrape. Not all charities. Charities are great. But this is a way to directly give to America's kids at scale. $5 billion, $10 billion, $20 billion from America's great philanthropists. The Treasury Secretary issued a 50-state challenge. On the 250th birthday of America, we want all 50 states to have similar programs that get launched. And I will tell you this, because Michael and I are chairing the Giving Committee of Invest America. We're making the ask, and our hit rate is 100%. America's most successful people love the idea of contributing to these accounts. And so stay tuned over the course of the next weeks and months, but we're going to have a big bang come July 4th this year.
And it not only strengthens these families and these children, but of course it strengthens the nation.
You brought up a really interesting point, I think, that many people have missed about this program. Beyond just its simplicity, most charities have an expense ratio. They have to. They have infrastructure, reporting requirements, compliance issues. The drag can be as much as 9–10%. This has zero. You set it up, no friction, it all goes to the child. That's the sheer genius of this.
And importantly, and soapbox and sell, but for the philanthropists who are listening and in the room, it's 501c3 deductible, right? You're giving the money away to America's kids. There's no cost, right? You get the deductibility that the tax code, provides for that. And
Did you hear that? Did that fly over your head? The money being given to the children is tax deductible. I've been watching people in the chat and what they've been saying. When you open up this is the brilliance of it. The fact that you're giving money to your own family, or if you're a boss and you're giving it to your employees' families, or however this money is being distributed to the kids, it's tax deductible. And I didn't want that to go without people understanding. What did you just say? 501c3, it's completely tax deductible? Yep, it sure is.
right? Again, I keep coming back to this. Less than half of the kids under the age, or citizens under the age of 40, believe in capitalism. We have a crisis in America, a battle for the soul of America. This is the antidote. This is a firewall in defense of free markets and capitalism and democracy. And on the verge of our 250th birthday, that is the negotiation. That is the social contract. It's not only the right thing to do on a moral basis to get everybody else into the game, but it's in the best interest of our country.
I swear, this is so amazing. People aren't really grasping it. So I want to show you a comment that just came up. got a comment from a woman named Robin Bolzer. She goes, with the blue state, will the blue states get involved? Probably not. Poor children of the blue states. They're all involved. That's the part people aren't getting. It's not the white baby. It's not the black baby. It's not the Hispanic baby. Every single kid, Republican, Democrat, socialist, all of them, every single child born after January 2025 gets the account. How can the Democrats possibly go, no, this isn't any good? Because now the people, just imagine this, there are going to be people in blue states, in blue cities, are going to get information like, hey, we just opened up an account for little Johnny. What? Yeah, we just put $1,000 in Johnny's account. So when he gets older, he's going to have some cash. Now, you can't touch it, but little Johnny has. But I hate Trump. That's the rub. I love that your comment came out like, well, the people in blue states won't do it. They don't have to do anything. It's not an opt-in. There's no application. You get the Social Security number, you get the baby, boom, you get the money. You got a baby? Yep, you're an American. Yep, you hate Trump. Guess what? You get the money. Democrats don't know because nobody's telling them. Nobody's telling them what's about to happen and how great this is.
It's impossible to find a mistake in this idea, and that's rare these days. On top of that, 100% bipartisan. Who doesn't want to do this?
I mean, that's and Michael can comment to this as well, and I think it's a really important point. You know, Michael and I are working with a lot of governors around the country. You know, you already heard from the state of Texas. State of Texas has said they're going to add $1,000 to all the kids born in the state of Texas. You're going to see a competition among states. Red states, blue states, they're all going to add to the accounts of the kids, you know, who are born in their states, and they're going to do a lot of creative things, you know, tied to that giving, the citizens of those states. But, you know, when Michael and I have conversations with people on the left and the right on Capitol Hill, I can tell you, when the doors are closed, everybody says, you know what, the president signed it. He deserves to have his name on the bill. We support this. We love this idea. It helps America's kids. Obviously, when they walk out in front of cameras, sometimes the story is a little bit different. You know, we have a lot of reasons to have debates and battles in this country. This is one thing we can all agree on.
You know, Brad, the more I listen to you, I'm thinking this is Social Security doged. That's what happened. Yeah. It was stripped of all the bureaucracy and made simple, supporting the individual and their rights and their dream and their family in a unique way never thought of.
Yeah, can I say one thing about the Social Security you know, aspect of this? Because my 90-year-old mother, who was just at the national, I'm a Hoosier. She was in Miami with me to watch Fernando Mendoza lead our Hoosiers to a national championship.
I was in Miami watching Miami lose.
But my mom said something to me 3 years ago that was really important. She said, you know, when they told us about Social Security, they made a sacred promise to us. They said, my mom was poor, working 2 jobs. We're going to take money out of your paycheck, and we're going to save it for you. And when you retire, we're going to give it back to you, right? That was an evolution to the social contract of America on the eve of the Industrial Revolution that prevented us from going the way of Weimar Germany.
And how'd that work out?
Okay. Well, the good news is it's a promise, I think, that has transformed this country, kept this country together, made this country the greatest country on the planet. However, a complement to that, not a replacement. This president has made absolutely clear Social Security is a sacred promise that must be met and will be met. And we're the richest country on the planet, and we have the capability to do that. However, it's equally important that we give every child a prosperity account. Because too many kids along the way, we shouldn't make them wait until they're 60 years old to feel connected to America. They need to see their dollars going to work for them and compounding on them. And we all know that the social contract is going to have to evolve in the age of AI, right? These kids need to see on their phone they have a little OpenAI and Anthropic and all the new companies that will come of age, because we're going to have disruption from artificial intelligence. It's a lot easier to face those sorts of disruptions that the Industrial Revolution brings or the AI revolution brings when you have skin in the game and you're benefiting on the upside.
Michael, back in '87, you democratized technology by breaking the $1,000 price point at Walmart with what was called back then a multimedia PC. I was there selling educational software. In August, this is just a little piece of history which talks about, you're too shy to say this, but until then, a PC was not affordable by a family. $899 for a Dell computer. You don't even remember the price. And why that mattered, it hit in February of '87. By August, when Michael Jackson wanted to drop his Bad album, the entire software industry had taken up world capacity of CD-ROMs because your machine had a CD-ROM in it. Michael's album was delayed for 2 weeks because of you. That's what happened.
I've been blamed for a lot of things, so I'm used to that. But look, I think the point is that in not that many years, we're going to have almost every single child is going to have an account with a reasonably substantial amount of money in it, with the government's contribution, the state level contributions, certainly families and philanthropists contributing, and that over 10, 20, 30 years will make an enormous difference in this country. That's really what I'm very excited about.
And it's what I love, whether you're in rural Indiana or rural Mississippi, whether you're in Western Texas or you're in inner city Compton, all right, whether you're in Trenton,
don't forget Alaska,
or Roxbury, outside of Massachusetts, this is the part of America, right, that this president and this administration has raised their hand and said, we've for too long promised that we're going to close the wealth gap. We for too long promised that we're going to get everybody else into the game. And there's frustration and anger in the country because people don't feel like that promise has been met. And here we have an opportunity, now that is baked into law forevermore. We're changing the game. Every kid in the game of the upside of America, and now the ask of everybody in this room and everybody in America. It's on you now to make sure that every child claims their investment account when we launch them in July. It's on you to contribute $5 to $10 to those accounts and get those snowballs rolling, right? This is not a government program. This is an ownership program, an ownership account by citizens. So claim the accounts, make sure your friends claim the accounts, make sure your schools know about this, your churches and your synagogues know about this, and make sure that, rather than giving the plastic toy on the second birthday, give $25 into the account. It will transform lives. And our KPI, our key performance indicator for Michael and I here, we want every child, right? Not 50% of kids claiming these accounts. We want 100% of kids claiming these accounts, and we want to see all the accounts adding to the accounts. That unleashes the magic of America. It's the greatest country on the face of the planet. Our national economic advantage has never been greater, but this secures our democracy and capitalism for the next 250 years.
Now, Brad,
Michael, last
don't
words?
we get a big head start on that on the tax return where you claim the child tax credit? You might just speak about that for a second, because I think that's obviously going to.
So every family this year, when you go to file your taxes, or if you use Cash App, and maybe you do the 1040 EZ, right? Because a lot of families, don't have tax preparers, don't file a normal return. Every single person, it's already baked into Intuit and Cash App and all these things. You're going to get a 4547. It's going to pop up and say, hey, your kid is eligible for a Trump account. Do you want to claim it? All you got to do, Kevin, all your information's already filled out. You just have to say yes. So make sure those forms are already going out to new moms. I see a lot of kids and babies in the room. All of them, my children included, they are going to be claiming their accounts. and we're evangelizing on it. You know, we have 3 young people here today with me who are working on financial literacy around this, right? What is the compounding worth? Educating middle schoolers about this. And so we're gonna, you know, make sure that this is out there. Michael and I, should we tip our hand and tell them we're gonna run a Super Bowl ad or not? Oh, okay.
I think you just did. Yes. Dear America,
We're gonna
stay tuned.
You know, the point is, it's not just the accounts. We're gonna put money, effort, and wood behind this. I'm dedicating the next decade of my life to making sure that not only we get this passed, but it's the greatest implementation that we ever do, Kevin.
And I'm dedicating the next decade of Brad's life also, so.
Michael, last words. How would you like to sum it up?
I would sum it up as the greatest investment we can make is an investment in our children. And this has the opportunity to ignite a generation of people that understand how capital works and change the complexion of the nation to a nation of owners and investors and capitalists. And, you know, that's incredibly exciting.
I can't think of 2 better ambassadors to get the word out than you 2 guys. You're obviously very passionate about it, and you've been very much part of thinking it through. It's a really good idea. And I think everybody in here understands it, and now we have to multiply it by 100 million. That's it. Ladies and gentlemen, a hand for these 2 extraordinary men. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
All right, so I see so many comments in the chat. And the biggest thing that you need to do is to educate yourself. All the comments that you're seeing, what about this? What about? Go find out. Stop looking for somebody else to give you the information. That's the first and foremost part about this, is doing your own homework. Doing your own homework, get well versed on it. You got nothing but time. Stop watching Minnesota videos. Stop worrying about people, you know, doing crazy stuff. Start learning how you can become more financial literate if you have the question. One of the questions that came up often was, what about illegals? They're going to, or the Democrats are going to find a way to steal it, as a couple times people said. That means you're not understanding what this program is. It is not a government program. Social Security, that's a government program. They are taking the money out of your paycheck, putting it in the government's hands, and then the government's saying, yeah, we'll pay you back in 20 or 30 years, but meantime, we're going to spend it. This is not that. They said it a number of times. It's ownership. It is now a custodial account for a baby, a grandson, a granddaughter, a son that they own. So unless the Democrats want to find some way to co-opt ownership and confiscate, oh, by the way, this is only between now and 2028. So President Trump put in a fail-safe so that the Democrats couldn't get their grubby hands on it. Go read, spend the time, go on whitehouse.gov, go to trustaccounts.gov, read all this stuff, understand where we're going with this. It's absolutely massive, and it's gonna not get too far if people don't understand. In fact, you know, here's a comment that just came up. This comment says, where is it? Click the button, Barry. There it is. They're supporting the Super Bowl. They're not supporting the Super Bowl. If I wanted to get a message out to the entire country, where would I find the most eyeballs possible in the next couple of weeks? What venue, what vehicle would I be able to have that would give me access to the most eyeballs anywhere? I'll give you a hint. It starts with super and ends with bowl. There will be, 300 million people watching the thing? maybe 120 million people just in the United States. 120 million people that probably aren't news junkies. And now they're going to hear a commercial that says, hey, by the way, make sure you sign up little Johnny. We're going to make Johnny rich. Honey, can you rewind that? What did they just say? I mean, I understand here's a Doritos commercial, and over here is the Levi and a Budweiser, and now I got make your kid rich commercial in front of all those eyeballs. You guys, you don't have to do anything, you do whatever you want. But for those of you who want to expand your mind and understand what all of this means, you got to learn it. You can't be force-fed. I can't be the one to keep telling you, hey, look at this, look at this, look at this. You have got to do the work, which is why so many people are in the situation they're in. I knew that part was coming up and like, oh, you can't even do deductions because somebody told me you got to make more money to make a deduction. Are you filing taxes? That's pretty much the level. If you're not paying anything, there's nothing to deduct. Another one, hey, we're too old. You know, this isn't for us. Why? I'm 65. It's damn sure for me because I know I can help my family. It's not about me. I know how to do investments for myself. This is something for your family. You guys got to get on this or not.
Life, this is a transformational act in this country forevermore. Every child starts off life in the game with a piece of the American dream compounding in the upside of America.
It is the merging of President Trump's agenda of parallel prosperity, Main Street meets Wall Street. We are going to make sure that all American families have a stake in the success of the United States of America.
I'm not sure who the next person coming up, but this is their downtime in between people talking. So we can take some chats here. Somebody said it's Barry's Leering Center. Senja says this is a game changer for people who will take advantage of it. Exactly. It's not really difficult to understand. It is all about the magic of compound interest. Oh, that might be a term you need to look up. You might need to look up the term compound interest. How does compound interest work? Many people were never taught that. They don't understand how compound interest works. So there's the problem with all of this is that many people in America were never taught the foundational basics of wealth generation. It's completely new to them. Even if you're older, some of these terms and all the different strategies are completely foreign. And I know it must be tough because you must wake up and say, how can I be 62 years old or 72 years old and have no idea? And it's intimidating. And so I try to bring this stuff to you so you can hear it. But the part that shouldn't be intimidating should be the part where now I need to go look and see what I can find out. Somebody said they just went to ChatGPT and Grok and they got a whole bunch of information. They used AI. Yeah, here's a way for you to learn very quickly. Hey, Grok, what is compound interest? There you go. The learning part is so easy right now. It just takes people to want to do it. It takes people that want to thirst for knowledge. You know, I never want to get past to be a person that thinks, I've done it, I've learned enough, I don't want to learn anymore. So now we've got women coming out. Looks like Caroline Levitt and Cheryl Hines and a couple other women are coming out. So let's take them here. Incidentally, I bet you this is a mom's platform here.
Good morning, everyone. We are so excited to be joining you for the launch of this incredible program and investment in the next generation. We were pitched to do this event as a moms panel, so we are all moms up here and would love to start our conversation today talking about our journey as mothers and what this program is going to mean for our children and grandchildren. To start, if you're unfamiliar with me, my name is Isabel Brown. I'm a content creator and the host of the Isabel Brown Show, The Daily Wire, a daily show geared towards Generation Z, where we discuss a whole host of cultural issues every day, from religion to politics, food, parenting, dating, and everything in between. But much more importantly, I am a mom to a beautiful 9-month-old little girl who just fell asleep backstage, or she would be sitting out here with us. Her name is Isla, and between my husband's job here in the administration in DC and my work, we are a very, very constant in our family to a greater service to this next generation, but so excited to be teaching our children every step of the way what it means to create the American dream, both in our home and around the country. So very excited about this program. Rebecca, how about you?
I am a mother of two, a 6-year-old boy and a 2-year-old girl, and I'm also 40 and pregnant. I'm due in June, the beginning of June, another summer baby. I'm so delighted to be here, and I'm so happy that everybody is here as well, because it seems like we're all on the same page as far as how important this is for our children, how important this is for the future of America. And a part of our children's future is making sure that they have opportunity. And obviously when you have money, it's a tool, and you have way more opportunity. And so, I'm so happy. I'm calling him Grandpa Trump because I feel like he's giving my child, something like a nice gift. So I'm just so thrilled to be here and share more about, the importance of this Trump accounts.
Well, hello, everybody. I'm Caroline, for those in the crowd whom I have not met, and it's great to see so many beautiful babies here today. They offered to bring our children. Isabel brought her perfectly behaved, beautiful daughter who's sleeping backstage. They said, you can bring your son. I said, if I brought my 18-month-old son, he would be diving off of this stage. He would be pulling our hair. He would be crazy. Boys and girls are very different, and I'm going to soon learn that myself. I have an 18-month-old, and then, of course, one on the way. So I'm due in May, and very much looking forward to having a daughter. I'm very excited and proud to be here on behalf of the President in the White House today. The Trump accounts are an incredible initiative, perhaps the most pro-family initiative, one of the many pro-family initiatives this President has worked very hard to deliver upon. And I was so honored to really have a firsthand seat to watch how hard President Trump and the White House worked to get this initiative signed into law, and to really see this idea grow into a reality, to bring us here today where American families across the country can literally sign their children up for these accounts, which will lead to future investments, the reawakening of the American dream in this country. So it's just an honor to be here as not just the White House press secretary, but also as a mother, and sitting beside the great Cheryl Hines, for those who don't know.
Well, thank you for that introduction. Yes, my name is Cheryl Hines. I am a mother of 7. My daughter...
God bless.
Thank you. Hold for applause now. Okay. My daughter, Catherine, is here today. Kat, you want to stand up and wave to everybody? She doesn't, but she will. I had one child, Catherine, and then when I married Bobby Kennedy Jr., he had 6, so together we have 7. And as I'm reminded, I am also a grandmother of 3. I don't feel like a grandmother, that's why it's hard to...
You don't look like one either, girl.
It took you long enough to get there. But yeah, so we have a very big family, and it's there's always something going on. And like you were talking about, as a mother, as a parent, you have a lot of responsibilities, just trying to get through the day sometimes. And then when your child turns 18, they are going off on their own as an individual. So as a parent, all of those years, you're trying to pave the way for them, to teach them, to let them become more and more independent. And I love this program because it's not about red or blue politics. This is about every American having a start, having an investment in their future from the time they're born. So I know that we're going to talk about it, but that's why I wanted to be here today, because I think that's very exciting.
So exciting and very important. Caroline, let's start with you just on some of the nuts and bolts of the program itself. You have a beautiful baby girl on the way, which is so very exciting. So I imagine you will be signing your daughter up for a Trump account. How do families do this logistically?
Yes. So I will be signing up my daughter for a Trump account. What perfect timing, am I right? But this initiative, I would encourage everyone, if they have not, and I would encourage the media in the back as well, to please take a look and cover trumpaccounts.gov. This is the way that families across the country can learn more and can actually sign up for the accounts. And I know the Department of Treasury and the IRS have worked incredibly hard to upscale their web design and website to ensure that this is as easy and accessible as possible. I'm blown away by the website. I tweeted it out on my own account this morning because I really think it's important for people to see how easy this initiative and accessible it is. The website design is just beautiful. It's forward looking, it's futuristic, it's as easy as an app on your iPhone, to make it really simple for parents who, to Cheryl's point, are so busy and filing taxes for can be a headache, but this is something to really look forward to. And so for families with children and newborns who are eligible for that $1,000 really startup bonus, that seed in the account to get this investment started, it's an incredible thing that so many parents across the country can take advantage of now. And even if your child was born outside of the eligibility years, you can still sign up for an account at any time, and you can start that seed fund with your own investment. I also just want to point out how incredible this initiative is because...
You hear that? Because some people were in the chat going, yeah, but I'm not having a baby. What do I do? You can still start one. There is so much information that you're going to have to dig in and get the research. You're not going to learn it in a quick clip, where they're talking, because they're talking so fast. You might be looking at your phone, doing something, and then you miss it. Yeah, you don't have to have a baby right now. That's when I was talking to you earlier about my grandkids. Ashley's not having, well, I don't think she's having any more babies, but in any event, there's one grown boy and then there's 2 younger girls, and we can start accounts with them by putting our own money in. So you're not restricted if you're not, Caroline getting ready to have a baby. So just wanted everybody to understand that you got to listen to these tidbits.
And the federal government together, which is something President Trump does best. He is a businessman at heart. He is running the federal government like it's a company, trying very hard to, cutting through the bureaucracy and the waste and the fraud. And this program, this initiative, is an example of seeing philanthropists and businessmen and women and entrepreneurs come together with those at the highest level of government to do what's right for American families. So also big thank you to Michael Dell and his wonderful wife and the Dell family, who have been just a huge part of this, and all of the other successful Americans and companies who have generously donated. 2 stats I want to point out, if I could. I like to bring the receipts when I know the press will be in the room. 38% of Americans don't own stock, but with these Trump accounts now, every single newborn child within the years of eligibility will be invested in the stock market. And
That's mind-blowing. Every baby born will be invested in the stock market, every single one. So we go from like a certain percentage, 38, I think she said, to literally 100. That is a absolutely mind-blowing stat. Yeah. Wow.
Thing. And I know Secretary McMahon at the Department of Education is working really hard to sort of upgrade our curriculum across the country, allowing states to lead first so that children can learn about the stock market, can learn about our economy, can learn about these basic life skills that they should be taught in our classrooms. This is something our children are going to be learning about for generations to come and benefiting from themselves. And then secondly, this statistic blew me away so much, I had the fact checkers fact check it again, but it's true. As parents, if we make maximum contributions to our child's Trump account, the projected value will be nearly $1.1 million by the time they are 28 years old. That is incredible. By the time your child is 28 years old, the Trump account could earn them up to $1.1 million. I'm 28 years old right now. I wish I had a Trump account back in 1997, so this is amazing.
Yes, indeed. And I think it's so interesting to look at this retroactively, understanding that for many Gen Zers in our country, financial literacy was never a part of our curriculum growing up. No one taught us how to file for our taxes. No one taught us how to purchase a home or to invest in the stock market.
Or even to fill out a job application.
Absolutely correct. So making sure that our children have this capacity is so, so important from the education side. But Cheryl, you talked about parenting as launching your children successfully into the world. Are you hopeful that new parents, and this generation of new parents in particular, has the chance to learn some financial literacy along the way with our kids through this program?
Well, I do. I think that this program is so helpful in that way because, like you're talking about when you were growing up, when I was growing up a long time ago, we didn't talk about money in our house. We didn't have any money in our house. My parents worked very hard and they were just getting by. But even to talk about finances, to talk about money was so stressful. And it was stressful because we just didn't have any. So to start an account that has money in it, that is going to be that child's account, is such a great way to introduce finances, financial literacy, financial independence, and a great time for parents to be able to talk about it with their children. And, we all know every child develops differently at different ages. So as a parent, you can keep connecting with your child when they're 8, when they're 10, when they're 12, and look at the account, look at what that interest is. And like you were talking about too, having parents, I don't want to say donate, that's not the right word, is it? Invest, contribute. And even like Kevin O'Leary was saying, once you start working, I started working when I was 14, to have an employer invest in that account is very exciting. And it is hopeful. It's the opposite of stressful. It is time to talk about your child's future with them. And I think that's just so great. And a child will already be emotionally invested in that because it's theirs.
Not only is this creating a major pendulum swing for the financial security of our children's future, which is so important in and of itself, but Rebecca, I think this also marks a huge cultural shift that we're seeing in response to what can only be described as the degradation of the American family we've witnessed throughout our lifetime. In the last several years, marriage rates have been at a historic low. We know our fertility rate as a country is at a historic low. Our vice president spoke last week at the March for Life here in DC about his goal and dream to have America make more babies, which they are putting their money right where their mouth is as a beautiful second family right now in office. Your organization does incredible work ensuring that moms feel that greater sense of service to our society and culture at large. Do you think we may see more moms and dads as a result of this program?
Yes. Short answer, yes. I'm so grateful that it's colliding at the time that it is, because the more involved I am getting into my Moms for America organization, it's just so on par with what I am doing in my children in raising them to be America-loving, learning from our founding fathers, learning how if the more you learn about our founding fathers, you can't not be affected by their character that they all had. And instilling that in my children, starting at, my daughter, I have a couple books, but she's only 2. My 6-year-old is really, at the age, like you were saying, Cheryl, every age is different, and you kind of have to just figure out how you can relate to them at that point and how you can teach them things at that point, because then it changes. Like as soon as you figure out your child, like they're changing. But I think that it's just another way to invest in them and to love our country even more and to be grateful and know the privilege that we have as Americans. My husband is born in Denmark, and so he has a very unique perspective. He's always had the American dream ever since he was my son's age. When he was a little kid, he wanted to move over here because he's a numbers guy as well, so he understood the opportunity. And so that is very exciting, and accountability as well. Accountability because how I grew up, my parents got divorced and my life was a mess, and it's fine, it made me who I am, but I didn't have any kind of foundation to build on. And in the beginning of my life starting out, I always felt there was a hindrance, and that was I wasn't financially free to do anything. And even after I took out loans for college, I just, you have it on your credit and then you can't, so it's just the fact that I get to do this for my children is really, it makes me emotional because it's really setting them up for an amazing life. But accountability, I have a funny story to tell you. My 6-year-old's in debt right now. And when I told him that, he was like, I'm in debt? What does that mean? Because he thought it was okay to go on Amazon. He's not allowed to do that, but he went on Amazon and bought $800 worth of Pokemon cards. $800. And he's very much into soccer cards and Pokemon cards. And so when I actually told him about his Trump account, he was so excited. He already started thinking of the business that he would have. He said, I don't want to go to school. I want to start a business with that money. He thought I said 3,000, but I said it's going to be more around 300,000. That's our goal. But anyway, he said, I want to start now. And I said, no, Mads, you can't do that. And he was like, why? And I said, because you're in debt. And he's like, well, what does that mean? I'm like, that means that you can't do anything until you pay off that debt. You don't have money to invest in your business, because investing in your business, you have to go find the cards, keep them for a little bit, and then sell them. I guess that's how it works. I don't know. So anyway, so as a 6-year-old, for him to grasp that, he then knew. He quickly got it, and then he went to my husband and he told him, he's like, Daddy, Mommy said I'm in debt, and all this stuff. So, but now we have a chart, and he is working off his debt to us. So, it starts so young. I mean, sometimes as a mom, I think, oh, well, I'll get there. Like, I'm going to teach them that, but they're too young. But it's really, you can really start now.
Anytime, yeah, and that's actually wildly important for parents with young children today. You mentioned passing on the American dream, and I think it's important for us to sit with that for a moment, because pretty much every pollster and media organization will tell you today that young adults no longer believe in the American dream. We think it's a disillusionment, it's no longer available to our generation, and yet behind us I see a beautiful headline that we're jumpstarting the American dream for this next generation. That messaging is so important, Caroline, because I really do think that's setting the tone for culture at the top. It's not telling young people, figure it out for yourselves, we're going to continue borrowing from our country's financial future and throwing you under the bus as a process. To the contrary, we're flipping the script and the narrative in Washington through these Trump accounts by investing in the next generation and telling them you can be the champion of your own future, and generationally, the American dream continues to survive. That's happening at the same time as a bit of a baby boom down the street at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue that you are participating in. Can you speak to the culture that is
We practice what we preach.
Yes, you do. Can you speak to that culture that is so pro-family and how that's manifesting in so many different policies like this one?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there is a very pro-family culture in the White House, and I credit the president to that, and also our great chief of staff, Susie Wiles, who really just encourages and supports all of us as young parents. There's several other young mothers in the West Wing and many young mothers across the whole White House complex, but there's also several young fathers whom I work alongside. And so there are always children, toddlers, babies in the West Wing in our offices, and it's totally normal. And I think that's a really beautiful thing, because we are able to not just work for the greatest president in our lifetimes, but also raise beautiful beautiful young families, and that opportunity has been provided to us directly by the president and our chief of staff, Susie. So thank you to both of them. But I think the fact that that culture in the White House exists is because the president understands that the essence and the foundation of the American dream is the American family. And I'm sitting and listening to Rebecca's stories of her household. You know, those will be core memories for your son. We all have core memories from our childhood. One of mine is when my mother brought me to TD Bank up in New Hampshire to start my very first bank account. I think I was probably 10 years old. And I remember bringing in my little purse and sitting with the bank teller and thinking, this is so cool. And that was my very first checking account, which is a joint checking account at the time with my parents, and watching that grow, and then working at our family's ice cream stand throughout the years. And these Trump accounts are going to really form core memories for parents and their children within their households, which will set up our country one household at a time for success. And in addition to these Trump accounts, these are a huge initiative, but it's just one small piece of the puzzle with respect to all President Trump is doing. If you look at the One Big Beautiful Bill in its entirety, the largest middle-class tax cuts for working families in American history. No tax on tips for service workers, no tax on overtime for our law enforcement officers and anyone who is working overtime to try to make ends meet. No tax on Social Security for our seniors. And in addition to prosperity, the other most important facet of the American dream is safety. And as a mother, there's nothing you want more than your child to be safe and healthy in this country. And thank you to your husband for all he's doing to make America healthy again. That's an amazing that the president promised and he delivered by appointing your husband and all of the great work they're doing at HHS. But I think safety and health and prosperity are really the three things as parents you want the most for your children. And if you look across the board at all of the policies this president is implementing, from Trump accounts to border security to working with local law enforcement to make our cities safe places for American families, removing dangerous, violent criminals from American streets, and again, making America healthy again. Just everything this administration is doing is restoring the American dream, and it's very exciting to be part of.
And it really does start inside the White House. Caroline and I, if you didn't know, met when we were interns for the White House in 2018.
We started from the bottom together, Isabel.
Life is crazy how it all works out. And back then, you know, it was classic DC work culture, I think still. It always is, whether you're on the Hill or the administration. You want to be the first one at work and the last one to leave, really prove yourself, and it's always been that way in this city. But I can't tell you how many young families I hear from in the administration who are constantly told, it's 6 o'clock, what are you still doing here? Get home to your baby. You can finish this at home. That's so much more important in the legacy that we are building as an administration than email you could be sending from here at the White House. And a huge component of that, Cheryl, that I'm constantly talking about with my audience in our show is this intergenerational family dynamic. There are so many new grandparents in America right now that are so excited about participating in their grandchildren's lives. My baby is the first grandchild on both sides, so we have very excited grandparents across the spectrum in our family. What do these accounts mean for you and your grandchildren, knowing that this is not just something we pass on to the next generation, but theoretically transforms our families and our economy moving forward into several generations?
Yes, well, it's like what we've all been talking about. I think as a grandparent, it's exciting to sit down with a 3-year-old, look at numbers, ask, what do you want when you're 18? What do you want when you're 25? What do you want when you're 30? And if you had $1,000 right now, what would you do with it? Which is a really fun game to play with a 3-year-old because it's probably candy or Pokemon. But even just to talk to them, to hear them, and then like we talked about, when they get older, they'll have different dreams and ideas. But as a grandparent, as a parent, it's exciting to be a part of that. And as a grandparent, it's nice to know you can put money into an account for your grandchild or your child. My sister is also here today, Dr. Becky Hines. We were talking about what's great about this account, because at some point when your child is maybe 12, and maybe your grandmother asks your 12-year-old girl what she wants for the holidays. And as a grandmother, you're going to get her that ugly sweater that you love to give. But maybe she'll say, what I would rather have from you is the $50 to put into my accounts because I'm saving. And this is what I want to do with the money. So it's a very exciting, empowering tool and learning tool. And so it's fun. It's like we said, they're invested emotionally and financially. So it's something that you can work together as a family. And we were talking about having a lot of siblings growing up. And I
asked you if it was crazy having 7, because it was crazy to be one of 7.
Yeah, because how many did you have? How many siblings?
The 5th of 7.
Yeah, 7.
Yeah.
So when you're in a big family like that and you're one of many children, a lot of times you don't have your own thing. You're waiting to get the hand-me-down dress from your sister or the old bike from your brother. But so to know that you have your own accounts and you have control over it. You get to decide what you're going to do with it. It's not your parents deciding for you. It's when you're 18, you get to decide. It's very, it gives someone a feeling of pride, a feeling of individuality and independence.
Absolutely, and it's a huge shift, I think, into that individuality that typically when we were growing up, the idea was you had a college investment account and you were expected to use that for tuition dollars. Rebecca, you said your son wants to start a business when he turns 18 and wants to make sure that he has the chance to be an entrepreneur. What an incredible foundation to be able to give him when it comes to investing in your own American dream for teenagers now and children who will grow up with these accounts. Do you think that's going to create more of an entrepreneurial spirit with this next generation?
Absolutely. I mean, going off what Cheryl was saying, you know, whether you're in a big family or a small family, just that that specific investment to them as an individual, you know, is it, you know, over and over and over, because kids are, it's repetition, right? And you know, just they can start to dream their dreams every day. And there was something else I was going to say. I'm pregnancy brain.
We've all been there many times. I hear that too.
But yeah, I see that in my son because, you know, but I really want to bring up the Moms for America organization because I really encourage everyone to visit the website if they can. They have a Grammy Grizzlies group too. So
Grammy Grizzlies, Cheryl. Sounds fun.
But it's, you know, it's like, it just gives encouragement. Actually, they talk a lot about health. I'm sorry, I know that's not the most flattering.
No, I enjoy the name.
It's a privilege. It really is. It's
it is a privilege. I actually wanted to ask you that. Do they call you Grandma, or what do they call you?
They call me Share Bear.
Share Bear.
So you are a Grammy Grizzly. That's perfect.
I am a bear. You're right.
Share Bear. That's so cute.
That's powerful.
I love it. But you know, I can't help but think of that when I think of the talks that I will have with my children for their investment account. You know, because it just goes back to the foundation of the dream that our founding fathers had, you know, and so.
Caroline, I'm curious on this. The media is here today, and you deal with media day in and day out with your job. I'm already starting to see an interesting reaction to the idea that we do have a fertility crisis and a marriage crisis, a family crisis, as some sort of partisan political talking point, that it only applies to one side of the political aisle today. And I'm sure there will be many who come out saying, because it's called the Trump account, this is not a good idea for our society or a positive investment in the next generation. What message would you tell the media and those who might be skeptical about this, that this really is about all of our families and about the entire American people?
Well, we will try our best to get fair coverage on these accounts. And I do think, for the most part, the coverage has been positive and fair because it is such an overwhelmingly positive and nonpartisan issue. However, it is unfortunate that most Democrats on Capitol Hill voted against the piece of legislation that signed these Trump accounts into law. So remember that, Americans, who's voting for these Trump accounts and investments and who is not. But I would just add that it is unfortunate, the bias in the legacy media. We do fight it every day, but I would encourage everyone who's here to please cover this fairly and honestly, because this is an incredible initiative that really has the potential and the power to change lives. And that's why the president is showing up here today. We've already done a few Trump account events with him over at the White House, but he wanted to come in just a few minutes, I believe, to speak with all of you directly about this again, because it is such an incredible achievement for our country and for our children. And it's something that, to Cheryl's point, red or blue or nonpartisan, I think all Americans can and should be able to celebrate, and that includes those in the media.
One more logistical question I had for you, Caroline, about the program is something that really I haven't seen any coverage about in the media at this point. We know that if your baby is born within a certain window, they'll have the $1,000 bonus, which is a fantastic investment in their future. Parents can contribute up to $5,000 annually from a tax-deductible standpoint, which is amazing. But employers are also eligible to contribute to these accounts, and I haven't seen anyone talk about that. Right. Can you share a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so just to go back to the eligibility, if your child was born January 1st, 2025 through 2028, you're eligible for that $1,000 sort of seed fund to get the Trump account up and running from the United States government. And then an additional $5,000 each year contributed by yourself or others into the account, maximum $5,000. Employers are also allowed to contribute, which I think is an incredible thing for businesses, small, medium, and large. And it's something that I believe, as a young mother myself and having a lot of friends who work in the private market and private sector, employers should use as a recruiting tool. I mean, how wonderful when you are trying to hire the best and brightest talent coming out of our colleges and universities to really use this as a recruiting tool for these young people who want to work at these big companies and corporations. You can tell them, we'll invest in you, and not just you, but also your future and your children. So again, this is just a beautiful example of President Trump knowing that the private sector often works best. And while he's the head of the entire United States federal government, finding ways to work with entrepreneurs and businessmen and women who are enabling the American dream. And those great men and women should not be demonized. They should be celebrated, and they should have a partnership with this administration and administrations to come as well.
Cheryl, we've talked a couple of times about your husband's effort to make America healthy again, which we are so deeply grateful for. And I'm curious to get your perspective on financial security as an element of that. Health certainly is multifaceted when it comes to what we eat, the pharmaceuticals that we take, our mental health and spiritual health. But what will this mean for the next generation of Americans?
I think it really speaks to mental health. Like I said, when I was younger, and when you don't have money, it is very stressful. And it's hard to talk about. You internalize it. You oftentimes don't, if you're a parent, you're not sharing that with your children. So this is a positive way to talk about finances, to plan for the future, to have peace of mind. Even as a parent, I could probably name 50 parents who have kids who said, the day they're born, I'm going to start an account. But the day they're born, you're already working 24 hours a day, and that may not have happened. And so for a parent, it gives you a peace of mind that there is an account there for that, only for that child. So it brings you a sense of calm. You're talking about money in a positive way. It brings you some mental health ease. So I do think when you're talking about MAHA and you're talking about a healthy lifestyle, that also includes finances, because you can take care of yourself all day and eat right and exercise, but if you are under so much stress because you don't know how to make financial decisions, it will affect. I think this program is, like we're saying, it's bipartisan. It's not about politics. It's about children and families, and I think it's really a great program.
In our last few minutes together, I would love to switch gears a bit as we await the president's arrival here to just ask what this is going to mean for moms and what legacy you all are leaving as a mom for your family. Parenting has been so demonized in so many different ways in our culture throughout our lifetime, and I think young women especially have been told such negative things about the experience of raising the next generation, of experiencing pregnancy, and all of the beautiful things that come along with that. We have 2 pregnant moms here on stage today, and very busy women. We're all working women in our own way, but I think we would all say our family is certainly the most beautiful thing that has ever happened to our lives. So if you can share a bit about what that means for you and how you will encourage the next generation to that for themselves as well, that would be phenomenal. Rebecca, we can start with you.
Thank you. So I never really knew who I was until I became a mom. And I know that may sound corny, but it's absolutely true. And I didn't know what I was capable of either until I became a mom. And going back to what Cheryl was saying, I will testify on that. That was me in my 20s and even into my early 30s, mostly my 20s when, you should be like, this is me, it's my life, I'm, going out into the world. But I didn't have that. So, but yeah, it's motherhood for me has been a constant refining process, and it's never done. Like God does so many things through my children, to me as a person, and you never know how many faces selfishness has until you have children. And you're like, I'm starving and I'm tired. When is it about me? But, you're always putting them first. And it's the biggest sense of purpose I've ever felt. And it's the biggest dump of joy at the end of the day. And I've done a lot of cool things in my life, but there's absolutely nothing that I can compare it to. It's the most rewarding thing, and it's also has a very, there's a stigma attached to it. Like, your life will be over if you have kids, or you're not going to be yourself anymore. But that's right, you're going to be someone better. You're going to be someone way better, and you're going to meet a part of yourself that you were destined to be. And again, I don't want to sound so corny, but it's really by God's design.
Yeah.
We are the life givers. We are the heartbeat of the home, and we're the heartbeat of the nation. And we are responsible. We have the privilege to have the responsibility of investing in little humans that love you so much and putting them out into society. And if we just get back to that, I think that is another, part of the equation in America. And I just want to point just one thing. Like George Washington, his mother was, you can go throughout his journals and things. He loved his mother. His mother did everything to, create who he was really. And I didn't even know this. He was about to the British Royal Navy. Did you know that? And she was like, I don't think so. You're going to pray and you're going to ask for God's direction. And so he did. And so anyway, that, knowing that about our history, I think is very important for moms as well. And there's just so many people, not just in America, but around the world that had, such a big impact in shaping world's history and American history. Yeah,
I don't think any of us could have said it better ourselves. So very powerful. Thank you all so much for your role in serving our country in different ways and serving your beautiful families. And thank you again to President Trump and to our Treasury Department for this incredible investment. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
back to Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
Well, I hope you guys got something out of that. I know some people didn't. I can't help you with that. To me, it's a great thing that we just watched. Let me go take a couple of the comments that I wanted to go over while people were before we leave. Let me just start here. This one here. This one is from Jay Smith. Jay Smith says, Bear, if you had to start over right now at your age without real estate, what would you do? If I was doing it without real estate, I would probably at this point look at, well, I don't know why it would be without real estate. Why would you want to take off the table what is probably the quickest way to accumulate wealth? Not really sure. But if not, I would probably get into following the Pelosi tracker and doing some things like that. And obviously looking at silver, gold. That's probably what I would do. But I'm kind of struck because I think it was Will Rogers had said, it was Will Rogers who quoted and said, they ain't making any more land. This is it. So why would you preclude real estate from your scenario? But I guess that's what I would do. Look at trading some stock or something. Tina, this is for American citizens, baby only. Anchor babies, you'll have to do your homework and find out. That's what it. That's true. Let's see here. Rosie says it's just that 2025 to 2028 you get the Trump deposit, but you can put your own money in as well. Yeah, so what I want to do is I want you to begin, well, I don't want you to, it's up to you at this point. Hey, they're actually talking about it on Fox right now. Interesting. So let's go ahead and take this.
Until the child reaches 18 years old. Secretary Bessent explains it further. Listen.
You can't access the account until you're 18 years old. And when you're 18, you could either access the account, help pay for a first car, home, college, or you could roll it into a retirement account. And then just based on current returns or historical returns, it could be $500,000. So it could be a great supplement to Social Security.
And by the time a child's, say, 28 years old, we did the math. I mean, you're looking at if that parent's contributing, maxing out what the contributions that they can make with the matches and everything, it could be $1 million in that child's account by the time they're 28 years old.
There's no getting away with it. I mean, getting away from it. It is what it is. And it's an incredible program. And there's so many people that have doubt. And the doubt that they have is self-doubt because they don't know. Again, if you go look, if you decide you want to educate yourself on exactly how compound interest works, I think things will be a lot clearer. And for the rest of the people who are just complete doomsayers, I can't help you. I mean, I really can't. I mean, SV was texting me and said there's some people that were saying, hey, what happens if the market crashes? If the market crashes, the child accounts are probably going to be the least of our concerns. There's no guarantee on anything tomorrow, but that shouldn't preclude you from trying. It doesn't make any sense. This one came in. Barry, there are many of us that would love to become financially independent, but we happen to be retired and there's always too much. He got cut off after that. What is being retired having to do with not being able to be financially independent? I'll let that sit in the chat for a second. What exactly does being retired have to do with not being able to, in your later years, become financially independent? Nothing. You are putting that limitation on your mind. You are putting that limitation on what you can acquire. Nobody else is. If you feel you're trapped, if you feel at this point you're too old, what do you think's going to happen? It means it's not going to work for you because you're putting your own self-limitations in place. Nobody else is. It may be harder for you because you may at this point don't have any ideas. You may have to begin educating yourself, but I played a video a couple days ago. And in that video, it was with Jensen Huang from NVIDIA. And the guy from NVIDIA came out and said they're going to need hundreds and thousands of jobs in order to fulfill where they're going with AI. Now you're like, I'm not a pipe fitter. I'm not an electrician. I'm not, anybody that is a tradesman. I'm not that. Well, could you be a trainer? Could you be doing lessons and showing people how to do what were you doing before you retired? In order for you to retire, you must have been doing something. Do you have a skill? Do you have an inherent skill that somebody can learn from you? That someone would be willing to pay you? It is a mind training that you have to go through. Like the gentleman had asked me, what would you do if you couldn't do real estate? And I was like, I'm always going to do real estate. I mean, why would I turn away from something so profitable, so prosperous? Always going to look at real estate. That's what I chose to make as my foundational financial education, was real estate. And so with that, I can help other people learn about real estate and tell them that it doesn't matter how old you are, you can do it. And so what stops you is those kind of questions. Pray for direction, put out a little effort to get more. Yeah, exactly. I am 69 years old and I just started investing in gold and silver and the stock market. It's for my grown kids, so when I die, it goes to them. Yeah, the word in there that makes the most sense that you have to actually begin focusing on is started. It's way too easy to sit back and go, this isn't for me. I'm old. I can't do it. Because I think I'm pretty sure too many people equate starting with hard. And so they think it's hard, however you want to define hard, and so they just don't do it. Where some of us look at something hard and go, yeah, I'm going to do this. And I'll just take myself. I've been involved in real estate. I was not involved in podcasting. And everything that I'm doing right now, which I still make mistakes, is because I had to learn. Not like I'm sweating outside, not like I'm digging a ditch, not like I'm, out on a roof. That's hard work. This isn't hard. Well, it could be considered hard, but it's mostly learning. So if I could do it when did I start doing real estate videos? I don't know, maybe like 5 or 6 years ago, I started doing real estate videos, and I had to keep doing them. You keep doing them, and one of the funniest things, you'll talk to anyone who's ever done anything on YouTube, and they will tell you, you probably have deleted 1,000 videos. I don't like that one. Even today, I'll make something out, let me just throw it away. Not working. It's not hard to get started. That's all I have to say. She just told us, Caroline just told us it's going to be a little girl. Let's see, where do we go again the other day about trading and buying stocks? Oh, if you want to go to Autopilot, I think it's autopilot.com or Pelosi Tracker. One of those two can get you there. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to jump. Let me tell you some of the things we've got coming up before I do Super Chats and be gone we'll definitely do a nighttime show. It's only 1:40. So tonight we'll do the blood and guts and bleed it lead. We'll do the stuff that everybody wants to see tonight. Let's talk about Minneapolis some more. Whatever. Well, I'll give it to you. We'll have this slant on what's going on in Minneapolis, and I'll do 100% on it. And you guys can all come back and we can watch that stuff. But in any event, we've got Ashley has what's her name? Haley West booked on Friday. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pre-record it because Haley is still on the ground in Minneapolis. Haley West was the one who got followed around by ICE. and they converged on her car. So she's still out there doing work. And I'm going to need some questions from you guys as to what you'd like to hear from Haley as well. So that's going to be Friday. I'll probably go live at around 5 as I usually do on Friday, but I'll go ahead and do the interview with her earlier. And then tomorrow I'll put up a sheet where you guys can leave questions that you'd like to hear from Haley. Let's see. Okay. What else we got? So yeah, Ashley goes, hey man, the numbers seem down today. The numbers seem down today because every time we talk about prosperity, it chases people away. It's like rat poison. I don't want to talk about money. Don't. But I love it. I absolutely love it. By the way, what's silver at today? Let me look at silver. Some of you guys may want to see that. Silver, 112. It's hanging. People keep trying to attack it, and it just goes back and forth. It keeps. It's like the Energizer bunny at this point. What silver is doing. All right, so tonight, 7 o'clock is when I will do tonight's show. If you guys got to run and you can't be here for Super Chats or you're not staying for the after party. So 7 o'clock tonight, we will do the second show. So let me do Super Chats right now. Hold 1 second. Let me configure this. Hold 1 second. Would you guys, I mean, it's funny. I was watching, some of you guys were talking about the Super Bowl, and people don't even want me to talk about the Super Bowl because they hate the NFL so much. I'm sorry. I'm just not like that. It is what it is. I mean, yeah, do I like the things that they've done? No. But at the same token, you know, I like the game. I play football, so I watch it. But I will be avoiding the Super Bowl halftime. I'll be avoiding the Super Bowl halftime show like the plague. I don't want nothing to do with the halftime show. All right, let's do the Super Chats, and got it all set up. Yeah. And let me do this, get this here. Here we go. All right, so here we go. Robert Ring from Canada, thank you. Lisa Osler, is there some opinion where older children can open an account with parental contributions? Is there some option? When you say older, I believe it's under 18, you can still do the Trump account. So under 18. Joshua 1:8, Nehemiah 4:14. Thank you, Barry, for always keeping God's word and the truth of the word as your focus. You know what I found interesting today is before we started talking anything about the financial stuff, I love that they opened up this entire event talking about children and children investing. They opened it up with prayer. I thought that was fantastic. Buddy Sanders, move the Olympics. That would be nice. Lisa also, did he say children under 10? I think it's under 18, children under 18. John C., Israel left Egypt, but Egypt did not leave Israel. Okay. Starfleet, I have family members who are anti-prosperity. They believe I should live being dependent upon the government to provide for me. It's difficult. I don't even know how you think about that. I don't know how people are against prosperity. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. But God bless you. That's a tough one. Cutting edge. Deductions are about every tax you pay, sell or donate. All of them have a tax and you can have a deduction. All the food you pay. Too simple. It's very simple. But you know what you're talking about. Jose, hey Barry, long time no here. The issue is that have been indoctrinated to have nothing and be happy. And thanks for all the encouragement and prosperity advice you give. Yeah, that indoctrination has been extremely, extremely tough for people. They haven't been able to break away from it at all. And you're seeing it in our own chat. Excuse me. If you're seeing it in our chat, imagine what it's like outside, what the world is like. How everyone just wants to look away from people who make it, from people who achieve a certain level. It's so foreign to me, but we're seeing it. John, I'm 70 years old. We came so close to losing it all. This is so awesome. Now we are helping generations. Thanks for the in-between comments. You're also awesome, Barry. Now let them have some homes. Yeah, thank you. Lisa, my questions were answered. Great. You know what's funny when people are like, this is boring. And I'm like, how's this boring? Oh, that's right. You don't like money. Naomi, I have, Pat, Trump is the greatest president ever in my lifetime. Yeah, I've never seen anybody do the things he's doing. Naomi, I have two that are too old for seed money. I'll pay it. Okay. Kelly, thank you. Deirdre, Barry, I just want to remind you, you are appreciated. Thank you. Please never stop. Your show is very impressive and teaches me daily. Thank you very much. Thank you. And Chiosop, I need to pull that down further. Yeah, Chiosop. If it was easy, then everyone could do it and wouldn't have any value. Exactly. You know, it's funny, just in closing, somebody was bitching about the volume. And live production is a lot different than videos on demand. Live production, things happen. If I hit the wrong button, I can't edit it out. So when you're getting these feeds from all these different places and all these different places, even while President Trump was talking, I don't know if you noticed it, the microphone, when they put up the microphone and they're doing their different things, the microphone is set for Trump. 6'2" plus whatever, and they have it. They know how loud he talks. They've got it modulated. And then when he goes, hey, come on up, and somebody talks like this, the people are trying to get it equalized because there's nothing you can do about it, because I didn't expect him to call people out of the audience and have them walk up to the microphone and they'd be shorter and they'd down here, or some bigger guys talking louder. Same thing at that event. There were 4 people when Kevin O'Leary and Gerstner and Michael Dell were sitting there. Well, Michael Dell knew how to hold a mic. You would think that Mr. Wonderful would know how to hold a mic, but he was holding his mic down here. And so when he talked, it was one level. And then when it got close to Michael Dell, so people don't understand what it takes to modulate sound, feed, all kinds of different things. So just, I'm not talking about giving me a break. I'm saying understand whoever you watch, if the sound's moving, because most people don't even edit the videos. They just play what's on Twitter, and they'll click a button and they try to modulate it on the fly. But there's so much to do here. And like Chiosop said, if it was easy, well, then everybody would be doing it. But everybody isn't. So that's good for me. All right, see you guys at 7 o'clock tonight.